What's good, family? Welcome to this Wednesday. You are now tuned into the I Am Courtney Michelle show. Of course, I am Courtney Michelle. So I hope everyone is doing great. I am excited to talk about what you guys see in the thumbnail and see the title. Man. So I don't want this to be very long. I just had this on my heart um, to talk about. And I am planning to do maybe kind of like a series. I would love to get feedback from a lot of people, particularly women, different shades of Blackness. Maybe do a panel. So I am looking forward to maybe doing that. So, you guys, if you feel like being on a panel, hit me up. But this is just to start it off to kind of talk about what I see, and so let's get in it. So again, while y'all are popping in, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button. And so yeah, maybe I'll say a week ago, I posted in the community tab, I posted just a regular meme that said, "Dear Black men, I love you, I respect you, I value you." And you know, that was it. The feedback that I got, I was completely overwhelmed with. Some of the feedback was from Black men that said they never hear that, particularly from a Black woman, which again, I'm surprised. Which I guess being in this space, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Then I was getting a lot of feedback from Black women. Of course, the mammy thing came up and you trying too hard, girl. But I think one of the comments that I was getting, and have been start getting that in my comment section, was, well, like you said, Courtney, it's easy for you to appreciate Black men because you're their preferred type. And I was like, preferred type? Well, I mean, I'm a Black woman like you. And so, being in the space, I'm thinking that, Black men are having an issue with Black women and it's Black women, us in a whole. And they were like, no, no, you can get away with a lot of stuff because of your complexion. You're their preferred type because you're not dark skinned. I never thought about that. I never thought about Well, I knew colorism is prevalent. I know it's real. I know that my experience as a Black woman is going to differ from a woman that is a lot darker than me. I know my experience is going to be different from women lighter than me. However, I didn't think about it in this space. I was very, very naive to think that in this space where we're talking about Black relationships, that it goes down even further when we're talking about Black relationships, but even Black relationships within dark skinned women and the contingency of the skin color that you have, of how deep or how fractured that relationship is. So I wanted to talk about that. I've been doing a lot, I do my research here and there, and I pull up a lot of stuff. And so I kind of want to go into that. I am going to be taking a few calls. Again, I don't want to keep you guys long. I know sometimes we go 4 hours. It's storming here, people. So y'all stay in the country. So y'all have to bear with me. But let's talk about that. So the post that I did, right? I didn't think too much about my post. My post again, I love you, Black man. I value you. I love you, all that. Da, da, da. Well, maybe a couple years ago, someone did a post about that to Black women. Let me pull it up. And if you guys can see it, dear Black girl, you don't have to be mixed to be beautiful. Now, for me, I was like, well, thank you. Again, I'm, as a Black woman, not thinking anything of it, not thinking that this would be something negative. Then it goes on, your African features are all you need for attractiveness. Never tell yourself or let anyone tell you that in order to be attractive, you must be mixed. I agree. Again, I didn't see anything wrong with it. And then here goes Gilbert Arenas. If y'all remember this, it was on the Shade Room, but he went in to say, how Black are we talking? Not to be funny, can you name a beautiful Black woman on the outside, not brown skin, like Tyrese? Top 50 most beautiful women of all time. The darkest women they have is Keisha Knight Pulliam, which is Rudy, Gabrielle Union, Terrell Hicks, Serena Williams. When you say African features Black, then you have Lupita Nyong'o. Lord, y'all know I didn't mess up her name. And she's cute when the lights are off. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, ew. So the beautiful Black woman you try to boast up is technically light skin or brown skin. That is a Black man that is questioning a simple a simple meme that wanted to shout out Black women, that you don't have to look ambiguous. Your Black is beautiful. Your nose, your lips, your melanin is beautiful. And we have a almost kind of dark-skinned Black man saying, no, you're not. Your African features are not beautiful. When I saw that, I did it was cringy for me. But I could only imagine how it felt to be a dark-skinned Black woman to read that. That your skin, even though you cannot help it, is not deemed beautiful. Again, my lived experience as a Black woman is going to be different than that of a lived experience of a darker skinned woman. However, I think it's very naive and silly to think that they don't have an experience, to think that light skin privilege, as well as pretty privilege, doesn't exist. I remember back, of course, watching hip hop videos and all the ambiguous, beautiful women, of course. Very hard to see someone dark skinned. But of course, that's hip hop. And then, of course, different songs, Trey songs, he wants a foreign. Of course, it's songs, R&B songs, all these light-skinned, ambiguous women. Never would you see a dark-skinned woman. Then I got in this space. And in this space on YouTube, adjacent to the Black manosphere, I saw it creeping. I saw the comments of Black men saying, yeah, you baby mama, yeah, sure, but you a little red bone, so I can deal with you. Yeah, you might be all right. I like your skin tone. You're not that dark. In this space. In this space where we talk about Black women, how we have these standards, how we want all this, hypergamy, 6 figures, 6 foot, 6-pack, how we want all these. And of course, we call it a preference. But then we talk about dark-skinned Black women in this space. We talk about Black women in general. Of course, the negative connotations of us is that we're loud. What Fresh and Fit, we're ratchet, we're annoying. What else do they call us? We're angry, the angry Black woman, right? That trope that they put us under. I started thinking about those adjectives, those negative adjectives that they give us as Black women. And then I started to think that I don't think they give it to Black women. I think those adjectives are specifically geared towards dark-skinned Black women. I think it's the dark-skinned Black women that get called angry. I think it's the dark-skinned Black women that get called wretched and ghetto. I think the complexion has to do, and it's very parallel to the negative connotations that we give to Black women. There was a show that was on that I just happened to peep, and I'm going to show it. And again, this is in the Black manosphere. And this guy was talking to dark-skinned woman. Let's peep it.
Get behind. I think that a man has a right to have preference. Now, yeah, granted, I question some of these guys' preferences, but I'm not for myself.
Well, I've said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. The preference in America is constructed, and it's dysfunctional. So when we keep talking about this whole thing about preference, yes, everybody has a right to have their own preference, but we need to acknowledge that it is constructed and created by American beauty standards, which is rooted and grounded in racism. And that's the problem that I'm having. That's where darkness comes in. That's where colorism comes in.
Okay, I don't disagree with the truth in that. Knowing that exists, wouldn't it be, prudent of every woman, every dark-skinned woman, to present herself in the best possible light at all times, publicly and privately, in order to counter that narrative?
But why can't the same be said about light-skinned women? That's the darkest as well. Why is the onus always put on the darker-skinned woman to change
because it's their
in a certain way and to improve? Again, y'all are upholding light-skinned women as if they are perfect and they
I'm not. I am
are.
No, this is not saying that light-skinned women are perfect. What I'm saying is that dark-skinned women have a bad reputation. Okay, let's put it out there.
How did dark-skinned women get a bad? Dark-skinned women got a bad reputation because we're dark-skinned. That's the darkism.
Listen, I'm saying it
now.
But
again, see now I'm trying my best to not get upset, but I'm an emotional person.
Yeah, I know, but
you've given these light-skinned women a pass.
That's not giving them a
pass. These ghetto hood, ugly, bad attitude, bad skin, bad body bitches, immoral bitches, weed smoking, drinking bitches. Fuck them back. You're giving them a pass. Acting like they're all so good. They're not.
Hold on, I do not give them a pass based on skin color. No, a ratchet bitch is a ratchet bitch. I do not give a pass based on skin color.
You are giving a pass.
This is that. You're not listening. You're not listening. This is what
they're not perfect.
No, I'm not saying they are. Listen to me. I'm saying that the reputation and image exists. I'm gonna give an example. The first negative image that overweight, belligerent, loud, obnoxious, dark-skinned black woman trope has existed for over 100 years now, since the 1920s. So it's now the 2020s, and yeah, so it has existed for a long time. Now, what I'm saying is, it seems like the best counter, and you are working on this. The best counter to that narrative, because you can't change the past, and you can't really change Hollywood like that. The best counter to that would be to be the exact opposite, which is the absolute opposite of Mammy is a slim chick who has a nice disposition. That would be the absolute opposite. See, I like to consider myself to be the opposite of certain negative black stereotypes.
Hmm. I'll stop it there. So again, it's not necessarily that all black women are fighting this angry stereotype of a black woman, the angry black woman, the wretched black woman. It's the darker skinned black women that are having it the worst. Let's call it a spade a spade. I've never heard anyone come to me and tell me that I'm pretty for a brown skinned girl. But I know a lot of my dark skinned friends, relatives, my cousins that have. In this video, I thought it was interesting that the narrative was still pushed by us as black folks. It wasn't, the reason why dark skinned women have this negative connotation just because of their skin tone. It's, yeah, you have it. So just be nice so you can change it. Yeah, I believe it because I saw it in a movie. I saw Hattie McDaniels in a movie play a dark skinned woman. She wasn't even angry. She was big, a mammy, but just angry, an actress. And it's black people that are perpetuating these stereotypes of ourselves. So we can't blame it on white folks. Not this time. We can't blame it on the white supremacy and the white man keeping us down and putting these stereotypes to separate us. Because at this point right now, when we're talking about colorism, when we talk about dark-skinned women, when we talk about black women in general and the stereotypes, we are putting it on ourselves. It is us that are perpetuating these stereotypes. I find it disgusting. As much as I ride for my black man, I ride for my black woman. And to know that these stereotypes exist within our community, within our small space of YouTube, where for me, trying to be at least the missing link and trying to get us back together, but damn, we gotta, again, these band-aids, I swear it's a scab that we have to unfold. And for us, again, for healing, we have to point out the negative stereotypes that we as black folks put on not only black women, but specifically our dark-skinned black women. So that was one of the content creators in this space. But let's just hear another black man.
Dark-skinned women get the same attention as light-skinned
Nah,
black.
It's the way how they treat you, man, and how they put you in that attitude. You don't need that. Black woman, like I said, she will fucking fuck your head up. She'll piss you off. Light-skinned woman, she'll talk about it, try to come, but you looking at her like, you know what? I'm gonna rock with her and shit. She make me feel like I'm somebody. I'm gonna make her feel like somebody.
Now, do you feel that a dark-skinned woman have that insecurity because how you feel, and a lot of black men feel that same way?
They have a whole lot of insecurity about themselves and shit. Light-skinned woman, it's all good. They love. They gonna get that. But black women, sometimes your attitudes gotta go down.
So I'm saying, but woman,
Because a black brother's not gonna be feeling that at all. And
I have
That man just pulled a random black man out the street talking about what you feel about black women. The same negative connotations of dark-skinned black women. So it's a thing. And it's a thing that we do have to not only talk about, but figure out how we can look at ourselves as individuals, look at ourselves for our character, look at ourselves if we're, helping or we're loving each other, instead of looking at me as a particular shade of black and thinking that because I look this way, then I automatically must act this way. That's further from the truth. So, Fresh and Fit had a whole lot of slack, of course. People still talking about it. I guess, hell, I'm still talking about it tonight as well, too. But Jessica X did this live a week and a half ago about Asian Doll and the interesting tweets that also came up about her. Now, within this Fresh and Fit, I want to be very, very clear. The pushback that they got had nothing to do with Asian Doll, had nothing to do with her getting kicked out. I think a lot of people that are not familiar with Fresh and Fit maybe was like, oh my God, he's kicking women out. Those who are, which is us in the chat, we already know that's what they do. So I'm not surprised, nor was I shocked. The shocking part was hearing the old comments that they made about Black women. That was the shocking part. And the reason why Asian Doll didn't get any slack, because quite frankly, I didn't know anything about the older tweets that she had until now. I'm going to bring it up, but again, for dark-skinned women, it's not the negative connotation that the world gives them, that some of our men give them. It's some of us, women, that are not as dark, give them as well, too. So Asian Doll, these old tweets that came out, this is, I guess, 2014, a dark skin equals a black ass bitch. Not all light skinned girls posting Black Lives Matter. Like you hoes, not racist, to y'all bullied dark skinned girls all of our lives, thinking y'all was better than us. Talked about our skin color, called us monkeys, you hoes fraud. Oh, school people. But keep spreading fake love. You'll never understand us. Light-skinned women ways are evil, jealous of dark-skinned girls when white folks, but that's a different racist topic. Do blacker, darker skinned women feel it towards light-skinned women? I think so. I think they do. Just like I think there's pretty privilege. When a woman is pretty, she knows that she can get away with certain things. In this atmosphere that we're in, where light-skinned women are put on a pedestal, do dark-skinned women feel that? I think they do. Her tweets go on. See, it's a difference between brown skin and dark skin. Brown skin girls pretty. Don't nobody want no African ass dark skin bitch. Even though these were 2013, 2014 tweets, do we still, dark skinned women still feel this way? This is a thing that has been happening for a long time. From the paper bag, matching to see if you're able to get in particular organizations, particular schools, depending on your color, the shade of black, of course. Does this still happen today? Of course. Do light-skinned women get a privilege because of their skin color? Of course. I remember my cousin. Now, she was yellow, light. And I remember even being a younger girl feeling insecure of my skin complexion because she was lighter than me. Her hair was longer than me. And I remember when I was with her getting overlooked. We looked pretty much the same, I think, as far as, face wise. But I do remember men saying to her, man, I don't care, whatever, you just a pretty yellow bone and I got to have you. And I remember feeling insecure. Now, have I ever tried to bleach nothing? No, I'm pretty legit now. Okay. But I remember being young feeling that way. And I know if I felt it, not being darker skinned, then my God, what are my darker skinned sisters feeling?
I have twice as many issues with my.
Do light skinned women know that they have privilege? Let's listen.
All the dark skinned girls that is mad at light skinned girls, we didn't do nothing to y'all. Just because we cute when we come in the room and we light up the room, we didn't do nothing to y'all. Why is y'all mad at us? Okay, listen, I can't even breathe because I'm so heated. Y'all don't even want to take us out with y'all because y'all want the dudes looking at us. We cannot help it. We don't got nothing to do with that. How is y'all mad at us? We didn't do nothing. My mother got with my father and had me. I can't control that I'm light skinned. When I come in the store, when I come in the mall, when I go wherever I go and I look cute, how is you gonna be mad at me? Why is you mean mugging me? I didn't do nothing to you. I'm on fire right now. I am on fire because everybody try to deny the light skin, dark skin beef. It's real. It's real. Dark skin girls is mad at us. For what? What did we do? What did we do to y'all? What did we do? It's not our fault that your boyfriend is leaving you for us. It's not our fault. We didn't do nothing. If y'all not mad, y'all need to go bleach your skin. Okay.
First of all, she's a whole goofy for wearing goggles just randomly. Like, bitch, are you going swimming? Like, goofy, goof troop. Second, she ain't even really light skinned. She's my complexion. Lady, you're brown, but okay. But third, to say that there's some women that think like that, they do. They do. Why do they think like that? Because society, these YouTube streets, perpetuate it. In the Black manosphere, we have what I hear. So, y'all know I listen too much to everybody in the Black manosphere. But they have a thing called educated lames. Or, I know Obsidian talks a lot about it. The non-select brother. And, that term has been around for a very, very long time, for years. The non-select brother, this is a particular type of man that it's a good man, but, attributes that women don't tend to just be automatically attracted to. So these men might be shorter, a little thicker, maybe not as much money, maybe not as charismatic, maybe socially awkward. Still good guys, but the non-select, what women tend not to select. And it's a lot of times that we talk about these particular men, and the men are like, yeah, I'm not a non-select, but I'm a good man. Why are you looking over a good man? Like, you're by yourself. Don't you want to be in a relationship? Well, maybe you would be in a relationship if you started getting non-select men a chance. Go out with them. See if you guys connect. Just because he might not be what everybody wants to quote unquote select doesn't mean that he's not a good guy. And just listening and understanding that has been something that we have talked about for years, especially men that consider themselves non-select, but are worthy to be selected because they want to be looked at the character of them, not because of their height or their money. And then I look how some of us treat some of our Black women because of their skin tone. And then I'm like, man, in this space, I understand what a non-select man is. Could this be what we would call a non-select woman? They don't feel preferred. They don't feel that the Black men really are looking at them as beautiful. Why? Because of the Gilbert Arenas, because of the negative stereotypes that we still, as Black folks, put on our darker skinned sisters. They don't feel preferred. And it's not them. We don't know them. They feel it because of their skin tone. You know, I love, you know, I'm a 80s baby. So the 90s I grew up in, if y'all see my office, I just got all kind of Ode to Martin and House Party 1, 2, 3, 4. I got Love Jones. Like I got it. My room is surrounded by 90s because that's my thing. Like I love it. I love 90s hip hop music, 90s R&B. That is my thing. One of my favorite movies of all time, shout out Spike Lee, is School Days. School Days. Now I think I said this on Lapeef Let's Talk. I said, of course, you guys, well, if you don't know, I went to a historically Black university. Shout out Tennessee State University. And one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life, being submerged in Black culture, Black people 24/7, it was my Wakanda. And that experience I will forever be grateful for. One of the reasons why I went there is growing up watching A Different World. I thought, man, look at all of these beautiful Black people in the school. And I was like, I got to get that. I got to go to a HBCU. Another reason why I picked it was because of my love of School Days. Some of this stuff, because I was younger, I didn't understand. But now looking at it, and the issues that School Days had back then, and I'm looking at this like, man, we are still living in the wannabes and the jigaboo era. And it's not just Black men saying they want a red bone. It's Black women going against each other because of the color of the shade of our skin. It's so silly because I remember this growing up, right? And, you know, I remember the song, good and bad hair, you know, and I'm just singing along, not understanding, like, what am I talking about? This movie was about colorism. It was about texturism, not understanding what 4C hair is, just not getting it, but understanding that this is things that we have been going through for ages. And it's something that we are still going through. I remember being in school getting asked, did you pledge? I was like, no, I am me for me. Oh, well, I bet I know what you would be. Because you kind of, that little red bone, I know what you would be. Dark-skinned girlfriend of mine. Oh, but I know what you would be, though. You would be opposite of what Courtney would be. One of us, they said, thought that we would be an AKA, and the other one they thought would be a Delta. Who do you think would be who? So the non-select, we understand it. We've been talking about it forever when it comes to men, but then we're not touching on it when it comes to women. And I think this is something that needs to be expanded on. Are our darker skinned women considered the non-select in this space? Because they feel like they're not preferred. Because shit, I hear it. I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to take a couple people up. to kind of give your opinion. Again, I think this is something that I want to start to talk about because it's not men, it's Black women doing it to each other. And I'm done with the gender wars. That was so 2021. Now let's talk about us getting together and the real issues, and again finding a resolve. And the real issues that we have is not just between men and women. Some of this is with women and women. Hell, we can't try to build relationships with our men and we can't even get together. Y'all call it a sisterhood. Well, sometimes it ain't that sisterly. Let me put this in here. Something I found interesting too. Now, y'all know I've been talking a lot about the divestment community because I have just really been intrigued. And I know you're probably tired of hearing me talk about it and Black conservative woman popping up. I can't guarantee she's going to pop up today. If she does, I'm going to talk with her. Yes, I am. I sure am. But what I found intriguing, right, is, y'all don't get mad at me, right? But this is what I found intriguing. Was when I was researching the divestment community, and I still am. I'm still listening to the content creators that want Black women to divest. Get your white man, girl. The Black men don't want you. And, and I'm looking at content creator, and I found something interesting that a lot of them have in common. Let me bring it up. So these are just some screenshots that I took about the divestment community and, the women that are pro-divesting. Of course, if you don't know what it is, please look at my videos. I've got plenty on it. But these women are, the Black men are dusties and they don't want anything to do with them, and they don't feel the Black man wants them. So why should they want them? Now, keep in mind, right? They feel like Black men don't want them. Now, if you remember what I said earlier, Black women in my comments telling me that you are the quote unquote preferred type. So then look at these women, right? Beautiful girls. But they have something in common. And I'm looking in the chat. What do you think they have in common? The women are dark skinned. Now, this swirler is just talk about her later. But they're dark skinned women. Let's go back. And these are just a few. I was like, the women that are wanting to divest, wanting to completely separate themselves from Black men, because Black men, they say they don't want them. So why, again, put energy into men that don't want them? And then I was like, well, all of them are dark skinned. So I was like, is that a correlation? It got to be a correlation. Okay. Y'all know I come with the receipts, right? Let's look.
We lived in a society whereby being dark was actually, it was almost like a crime, you know? You had to be a certain shade of black. I can't be dealing with this as an adult. I have to now find my own way
because obviously, I wanted to get married, and marriage was also that was a problem whereby you like somebody, but then you're like, no, they want to go for your lighter skin friend, not thinking, no, the lighter skin one. And I'm thinking, no, we can't carry on this way. So I had to find out my own solution. So I became rebellious. And I said, you know what? I am not marrying a black man. And I married my husband who's white.
So we had a dark skinned woman that literally said that because of her skin complexion, she didn't feel like she was the black man's type. And so she got rebellious and decided to marry someone white. Does that not sound familiar when we were talking about divestment? And I was pulling up videos of previous shows, them saying the exact same thing. I think it's a correlation. I think it's a correlation when someone talks about not being or not feeling like they are preferred, feeling like their own people don't want them because of something that they cannot help. How hurtful is that? And what do people do when they hurt? Rebel. What are some of our women doing that don't feel preferred? Rebelling. So with all this talk, the non-select, the dark skin, the good and bad hair, the jigaboos, the wannabes, all this talk that we are doing over the internet, and we got a lot to say about each other. Now, mind you, everything that we're saying, even what I'm saying to you right now, is going to be over the world. So it's not us that's just listening. It's other people that are listening. And interesting enough, I think that a lot of people that are listening to our conversations that we're having, that we're battling against each other, I think a lot of people can use it to further keep us separated. I'm going to pull this up and then I'm going to pull up a call. And I think this is cringy. I always think it's cringy when other people meddle in family business. But what do you expect when we put our family business out there?
In this video, the thing that happens is you have a lot of negativity on YouTube towards black women. I'm not going to say predominantly from black men, but there's a lot of it. As I said in the other video, it's not that the, or at least I don't think, I can't prove this, but then I don't think this can be disproved either. I think that what black women are seeing and what people are seeing in general is a lot of these videos popping up in their feeds. Now that has everything to do with the YouTube algorithm. It's not the only reason, so bear with me, but it's a big reason because let's say that I look up a video, right? This is actually a real world example. I look up a video, plus size swimsuit. What do you think that the YouTube algorithm is going to do? It's going to serve me more videos of plus size swimsuits. So if you watch a video of some black guy bashing a black woman who's really in a minority, that's just my belief, okay? Don't attack me, it's just my belief. And I'm not saying that there's very few black men who do this, but, and this is the distinguishment, or the distinguishment that I want to make also. Just because I say it's only a small percentage of black men, that doesn't mean that there's very few black men doing this, talking disparagingly towards black women. I'm just saying, of the total demographic of black men, it's a small percentage. But that can still be 1 million black men, but there's much more than 1 million black men on this planet. Honestly, the black men that I know and that I have known personally, they talk with nothing but respect about black women. Nothing about that. Do I say, well, they talk with respect about black women. Okay? I'm still not fully comfortable with using the nothing but, all but. So, excuse me if I said that wrong. But they really talk with respect about black women. It's only on YouTube that I see this. It's not just YouTube. It's I've seen it in other places. I mean, you guys, if you watch my videos, you know my my history with certain individuals. So I'm not gonna mention them on this channel. No, I shouldn't say that. No freebies.
Let's get him off. And the title of his video is "My Opinion About Black Men and Black Women Hating Each Other." So what we're doing, YouTube, going back and forth with one another, other people are seeing it as we hate each other. Other people are seeing it as them giving their opinion on our back and forth with each other. And I'm sorry, hate me all you want to, but I have a problem with it. So we got is it Chief?
Yeah, it's By Chief.
Hi, how are you today? What you got for me?
Well, I think a lot of the conversation is a little bit overblown. I don't think like black people are the only one. First of all, black people are the only one that have these issues.
We definitely are not.
No, it's just that it's the community. Like, for example, I think white people have the same. Like, white dudes complain about white women all the time. White women complain about white men all the time. I think when something's happening to you, usually people don't look at problems on like a larger scale. We would like to think that when something happened, it's like, oh, everybody sees what's happening. But usually people internalize a lot of problems that they have, which is like, for example, if I'm hungry or like my family or my area is poor, I think that's what's happening all over. Like everybody's suffering, everybody's struggling. But I don't think that's the reality. I think everybody has these issues. It's just that sometimes we feel like we're the only one that's going through it. People have problems all the time. And and the whole problem about black men hating black women and black women hating black men is usually an internet thing. Because in reality, you go to the grocery stores, you go to everywhere where you work, these things are not happening. Like people, like I don't know, like these dudes on the internet experience on dealing with women, but like a lot of.
Let me ask you a question, because
sure.
I think the internet is a small microcosm of a lot of stuff that might be going on. So to say that this ain't going on because it's on the internet, it's the people that are making the internet. And it's people that come on here with their woes and say it to the world. And then the people that, agree with them tend to follow them, and then they create a tribe.
Yeah, but that's true.
So let's go back to what we're talking about with the dark-skinned women feeling a certain type of way, feeling unpreferred. And again, these are dark-skinned women telling me that, again, this is me, privy to cousins that are darker than me, that's telling me, I get tired and I hate when people say I'm pretty for a dark-skinned girl. It's me listening to other content creators say that, yeah, dark-skinned women, y'all are annoying. Yeah, dark-skinned women, you have this and you need to stop being this way because this is how dark-skinned women act. It's happening.
No, I'm not denying that. I'm saying it's happening. Like, I'm not denying that it's not happening. I'm just saying it's not to the extreme that people make it out to be. Like, if I'm having problem dating, yeah, I think, like, if I'm having problems, like, women are not giving me no play, like, all women are trash. That's not true. It's just the women I'm dealing with.
Right. Okay. So do you not think that majority of dark-skinned women can agree or have the same lived experience of feeling a certain type of way for not being light-skinned?
Some, yeah, not all. And because and the whole colorism thing is a reality. And it's and what it's a reality, and it doesn't only happen in African American or Black culture. Like the bleaching thing is a billion-dollar business in India.
Well, yeah. Well, the dark skin thing, that the caste system, it happens everywhere. You're absolutely
That's what I'm
but
saying.
here's the thing.
So I can't see it happening in other cultures and say that it's not a reality. It is a reality. Black women, especially dark-skinned Black women, go through things that other people don't go through. Like if you're on a lighter complexion, you are more preferred. And that's the reality, and I can't deny that. But what I'm also saying is, it's not these problems that we have doesn't only happen in the Black community. It's not like a
You're
Black
absolutely
people.
right.
All I'm saying is Indian people are dark, have these problems. They bleach just like Black people. Black people are not the only people bleaching. Indian people are bleaching. People in the Middle East are doing their own stuff. So we make it seem like all the problems in the world is only Black people are the most problematic, and troubled people who got self work and all these problems, and every community have some.
You're absolutely right, but there's not a problem in facing it to try to fix it. Because here's the thing, in the Black community, we're the only ones that make songs specifically just about praising light-skinned women over dark-skinned women. We're the only ones that's tweeting about dark-skinned women not being beautiful. We're the only ones that have YouTube pages dedicated to us feeling this way, to Black men saying, I don't want dark-skinned women, or I don't want Black women. I've never heard a white man come on YouTube saying, I don't want white women. How about that, white women with your attitudes? I don't hear that. It goes on everywhere. But why is it our community that makes light of it, that wants to air our whole business out to the world to see our beefing amongst each other? Why is it that I have a white man have a whole page on how Black women need to act, how Black men and how Black women are hating each other? Do you this is the title of his video. When have you seen one Black person say this is the reason why white men can't stand white women? This is the reason why Spanish men can't stand Spanish women. You're not gonna see that.
Should I answer that? It's not what I'm saying is not. It's just a theory, and it's not fact. It's not based in facts, but it's a theory that I have. Is it because that white people, if you ask a white dude, what are you? He wouldn't say he's white. He would say, oh, I'm Irish, or I'm from Norway. My parents are from this. If you ask a Spanish person, they wouldn't say I'm Spanish. They'll tell you I'm Mexican or I'm Puerto Rican. It's like Black people are the only people who goes by their skin color. Most people don't identify with that. So if they're having you wouldn't see a Irish white dude come off like white. So it's just a theory. It's not a fact. I'm just
young brother. I don't know what you're talking about.
Go ahead, Sir Hill.
Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
I don't know
welcome,
what you're
Sir
talking
Hill.
about.
Always good to see you.
What's up, Miss Courtney? Looking beautiful as always. Shout out to my guy, By Chief. Salute to the chat. I wanted to come up here and say this really quickly. I think this is this colorism is taught within our homes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how deep this was until now. Listen, I got daughters. I got a dark-skinned daughter and I got a light-skinned daughter. Mm-hmm. So you could imagine. And it became real. I knew it for me, but I didn't know how this was with young girls. And I remember somebody complimenting my dark-skinned daughter. It started off real nice. She had her hair done really nicely. And then the comment said something to this effect that messed me up. Girl, you look so good, girl. Don't let nobody tell you because you dark, you're not cute. Out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of nowhere. And it was a relative. And it made me think about this self-hatred And it's not somebody telling you to hate yourself. It's these undertones. It's these
Mhm.
compliments that are backhanded, that are kind of infused with this, well, you should feel this way, that a lot of our young girls grow up with. And this self-hate the girls feel, the young guys hear that, and we perpetuate that. Like, this ain't coming from the outside. Like, it was taught there, but the reason why it keeps on festering is because it is in our homes. It is our grandmama saying it. I hear some of
Yes.
our mamas saying it. Some of our aunties are saying it. You even hear girls when they're bickering, when they're arguing, that this
Mhm.
comes out. Oh, just because you light skinned don't mean you better than me, or well, that's why you black. Right?
Right.
Because this self-hate is taught in the homes. And I think we have to address it there, and we have to treat it like it's real, because this colorism is a deep thing, and it will make you go through your life feeling like this, you're less than. And that
Yeah.
makes you susceptible to somebody else complimenting you or coming in, like, let me go to a different race, because you feel more valued somewhere else than you do from your own people. So that colorism is very real. And I know that it's real because I saw it played out between my dark skin and my light skinned daughters.
Yeah. I totally agree. It is. And again, like I said earlier beforehand, I was also I have a cousin that is very, very light skinned. And I felt a kind of way when I was around her. It made me feel certain because people would say something. Oh, what's up? Oh, she real light skinned. I like her. And I'd be like, darn, okay. And I'm not even that dark to, to feel a certain type of way. I'm a brown skinned girl, but I felt it too. And like I said, it's a real thing.
But see, you
And
got the reverse, Courtney. You get oh, you think because you light skin. You think
mhm.
because you think, right, you got the reverse of that. And it's the reverse thing that we do. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
real. I just want to come up here and say that. It is very
Well,
real.
thank you. And I appreciate it. And thank you for telling me your story. And you know what's interesting too, because do men feel this way when you're
What do you
talking
mean?
about a light skinned man? Is there like tension, like, oh man, all y'all like is light skinned dudes? Like, do
No,
you
no.
feel that?
I grew up.
No?
I grew up.
Max said he's shaking his
The
head
ladies love the
yes.
chocolate. Ladies love the chocolate. At least that's what I heard. Hey,
Those are kind
appreciate
of
you,
facts.
Courtney. I'm gonna be in the chat.
Thank you. Bye, Sir Hill. What you got for me, Max? You was like, yeah.
Well, women get it worse. I'll say that.
Mhm.
I think we all can agree with that. Women just get it worse. Men feel it too, but it all comes down to there's all sorts of different ways. Now, I did want to ask you the question:
Mhm.
is it more about dating preferences, like light-skinned women are preferred more than dark-skinned women, or is it about the hate or the assumptions? Like, is it dark-skinned women maybe have more attitude or something of that nature? Is it more? Is it about the dating, or is it about the attributes associated with? And they could be tied together. I'm just
I
curious of
think
your
it's
thoughts.
tied together. And
It's
Erica, I'm gonna get you in here too, but I think it's tied together. So
Mhm.
I think when it comes to dating, women want to feel desired.
Yeah,
And when you have people telling you that you're not the desirable type,
right,
that you would be pretty maybe if you were a little lighter, or you're pretty for a dark skinned girl, it kind of negates
right,
that you are pretty.
right,
So if I don't feel desirable and I see other people looking at another lighter skin tone,
right.
it's going to cause contention.
And I absolutely agree with that. My reason why I asked that question is because when it comes to dating preferences, I'm not sure what can be remedied for that. I mean, people sort of like
Mhm.
what they like.
Right.
However, I do believe that we do need to stop the assumptions, whether certain attributes associated with dark skinned women, something, and all of that. And then maybe if that stuff stops, maybe the preferences start to stop too. I'm just, sort of thinking out loud here. But
Well,
the reason
mhm.
why, quite frankly, most of my family is dark skinned. Um, I have two sisters. I have a couple of cousins who are on the lighter tone.
Mhm.
One of them is actually my best friend growing up most of my life, and I can tell you this: um, he was preferred. but
Mhm.
but that I didn't hate him or other, you know, light skinned guys for that reason. I just, you know, felt that I just needed to find my own niche. Um, but I it does make me sad. And it's just very, very disappointing. And the way I sort of look at this is a little bit of what you and the chef was talking about.
Mhm.
You know, when America sneezes, the black community catches a cold.
Mhm.
Basically, Killer Mike said, you know, first and worst. Everything,
Mhm.
every issue in America hits the black community first and it hits it worse.
It gets
And
us
when,
the hardest.
right. And so what that tells me is that these other communities do have this same issue. It's just that it hits us first and worst.
Mhm.
And um, you know, so when others try to say, hey, you know, they want to more be associated with other communities, it's not disappearing of it. It just it's just worse here. And also the thing to sort of keep in mind, I think, is that this whole thing with black men and black women online, honestly, I don't feel I don't see this anywhere else. But
Mhm.
that's just my opinion. Is um I think it's more mutually assured destruction. I think if you put down one, you're actually putting down yourself. Either way, and we're and it's mutually assured destruction. It will hurt us all um, by putting each other down versus um, lifting us all up. And I that's what I don't get. I mean, I can't help dating preferences. I think people like what they like. I honestly don't really care. Um, but the other stuff, the hatred, the putting down,
Yeah.
the name calling, the preconceived notions and all that, I think somehow we that just gotta stop.
Well, let me because I understand the preference, right?
Mhm,
However, and I said this before in the show that back in the 80s, it was light skin,
mhm,
as far as with men. Because I
mhm.
remember I'll be sure in a jean
Yeah.
jacket, right?
I'm right there with you.
I remember being a
I'm
little
an
girl,
eight.
like, oh,
I'm 80s and
he's
90s
cute.
myself. I get you.
Right. And then do you see the preference switch? So now is I need a dark chocolate man.
Hmm.
But before, 30 years prior, it wasn't. So it changed. How
Hmm.
it changed, I really think it was the depiction of media. I
Hmm.
think the media, the more that we perpetuate a particular type of person and consider them beautiful, it ingrains in our head and it's a learned behavior.
Hmm.
And again, we're just not there where, you have a lot of black women, dark skin tone, like the Michelle Obamas and the Viola Davis, that are
Hmm.
very prestige women. I think they're beautiful, but they're not considered sexy.
Hmm.
You don't see the sexy vixen, the Holly Berry. What's the equivalent of a Holly Berry that's a darker skinned woman?
Yeah.
Where is the Beyonce? Who's a
Yeah.
superstar? The Rihanna. Who is her counterpart that's darker skinned that we look at as a superstar that's beautiful,
Yeah.
that has
I
a
can tell you.
beehive?
I can tell you. I mean, my number one celebrity crush is Amara Negra. She's dark skin.
Yeah.
But that's my number one celeb crush. But I absolutely get your point. You're absolutely right.
Hmm.
I think here's the interesting thing to me that I also find is that, quite frankly, black men will have sex with black women, dark skinned women, but they may not want them by their side. And so they're sexually we are sexually attracted to them, to all shades. Um and I can understand their frustration with that. Like, hey, you'll do this with me, but you won't do that with me. And
Hmm.
I get that. That completely is 100% valid. And um I do hope that that can be thawed or mended somehow. Because I just, I mean, none of this does any of us any good. I mean, we all have to
No.
see that. None of it does any of us any good. And I mean, and you know, because what I see is a lot of optimism in the Black community because, quite frankly, for example, everyone knows that Black women have that demographic is performing fairly well in higher education. Yet
Mhm.
Black boys reading at a fourth grade level. If we had a situation where we focused on Black boys to get them up to speed with Black women, in one generation, we could be the most educated class in America. And that is a huge opportunity that I think we are missing. But we want to put each other down when we could honestly, I mean, we already outperform a lot of physical sports and things like that, entertainment. We could do the same thing in education, but for some reason we want to fight with each other instead of
Yeah.
working with each other to dominate all these sectors in our economy.
Right.
But I
Let
mean,
me
go ahead.
no,
I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. Let me get Eric. Let me get another woman perspective, and then Eugene and Derek. Welcome. Good to see my fellows here. I'll get what you guys have to say as well. But Erica, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, darling. What you got for me?
Okay, perfect. I agree with a lot of the things that Max said. Again, thank you for letting me be up on your platform to speak to this. I do think that it is something that is prevalent in the community. It has morphed from being liquid to ice to vapors, if you will. And I think now that we have access to social media, you kind of see these little hubs of people like really putting that out there and expressing
Mhm.
that. And I think it comes across very derogatory and vile. I will say personally, I don't have no dog in the fight because I'm married and I'm married to a chocolate Black man and we love being chocolate. But we do have a light-skinned baby and a brown-skinned baby. And even with recently having those two, I just had a baby like 8 months ago. I see the difference in response from family with
Mm.
my darker skinned child versus the lighter skinned child, which is really bothersome. I will say that people. I agree with Max. You have your preferences, but I have never seen, like it has been said, a Hispanic man, Asian, white, whatever, go onto a public platform and to trash the women within their community, and that is extremely bothersome. I
Mhm.
know that unfortunately, because of our um exodus or whatever, or entry into this country, that the proximity of whiteness is has been preferred, so we still have those who are lighter skinned are preferred. As a darker skinned Black woman, is that my focus? No, but I'm very aware that that is a preference that is put out there a lot, especially when it comes to women. And when you brought this topic up, it made me think of my experience prior to being married. To make a long story short, I was in a courtship with another chocolate Black man, awesome in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And I remember him calling me. We lived in two different cities. He was like, "Hey, I need to talk to you face to face. I want our relationship to really grow to the next level. I'm really excited about where we're going, etc." A week later, he called me and said, "I met my wife. She's the white version of you."
Oh.
Yeah. And I was devastated. And I was like, "Whoa, ho, what?" And he married this white version of me. And it
Mhm.
really had me perplexed for a little bit, a couple of months, and I had to get myself together. But it's there. It very much is there. It's disgusting, and I don't get. I mean, it's a reflection of self hate, and it breaks my heart because having two sons, my goal is to raise them. Whatever your preference is, don't you dare sit there and down somebody from your community. And I don't understand why it's not that grace or that love or that respect for darker skinned Black women. Not all, but
Not
enough to be able
all.
to make the
Right.
generalization. So
Right. Thank you. And again, that's interesting, just like Sir Hale with his daughters, one was, darker than the other. And even just to see it amongst family. So even if we talk about you can't help your preference, you can't help your preference. This isn't even about dating. This is family that is deep rooted in. So that's interesting.
it's definitely family. And really quick, I want to say that I didn't
Mhm.
know I was like dark skinned and that it was an issue until family brought it to my attention.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being like 6 and 7 and having older like aunts, great aunts, make a preference between the light skinned cousins and the dark skinned cousins. And I felt that thing was very strong and venomous in my family. And so that's a thing that, you know, we don't, so we say hi and bye and we love those people, but we don't give them enough space to be around
Yeah.
our kids to like put that venom in them. So it very much is prevalent in families.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, Erica. What is going on, Mr. Eugene? Oh, Lord, no. What's it? And Eugene, this only happens when you come on my platform. Okay, Eugene, go out and come back in, and I'll bring you back up. Every time. It never fails, Derek. It never fails.
Right.
So what you got for me?
Hey, chat and everybody. Hey, so this is a very powerful topic, and it's an unfortunate reality that we go through as a people. We have to address the elephant in the room. This is all rooted in white supremacy. It runs rapid all over the world, so it's affected many people of color, specifically us. Now, the ironic thing about this, somebody mentioned it in the chat, and it's true. The pinnacle of beauty, whenever they do select us on a world stage, has usually been brown or dark-skinned women. So somebody had mentioned Kenya Moore. You got to remember it was Iman. I don't know how old some of you guys are. Beverly Johnson, Grace Jones, Lupita. All these women were supermodels and dark or brown skin. You know, so I don't know if it could be a fetishized thing, but I mean, that's the reality. The representation of Black beauty has been brown or dark skinned women at the highest level. This is Miss Americas, Miss USA's. This is supermodels. Okay. And I'm old enough to remember all those women, Jodie Watt. I mean, there's a plethora of dark skinned and brown skinned women, but back to the initial point you were asking, it is true, unfortunately, because that was one of the weapons, the ways to separate and divide us. We kind of kept it going, unfortunately. But
yeah, let me go back to models because I think you made
Naomi Campbell. That's another one I forgot. Yeah,
so
it's always been
you
dark.
do see the models that are darker skin,
Mm-hmm.
right? But however, the essence of a model, when you talk about supermodels, is being uniquely different. Like Beyonce would never model, not with her body, but even her look. They're not known to be necessarily beauty queens like that. If you're talking about a supermodel, they're different. They have like an alien-esque look, the long and gated neck. They're different.
Yeah, a model look. Yeah,
the model look.
But they're pretty women, though. But the point
like
is,
Grace Jones.
They're all but they were always brown skin or dark. And like I'm saying, these are based on so-called white. I mean, I don't need a white person to tell me somebody's beautiful or not. But I mean, these were pretty women. And they were the pinnacle, and they were Black women, and they were brown skin or dark skin. I mean, so, but it's like we took that and continued to kick it around, that ball around in our community. And we have been for years. And again, it was a tool to be divisive, which, I mean, unfortunately is still working. So, my preference, I mean, I like Black women, brown skin, like, I mean, as long as you're pretty. Some of these women on here, like you were saying, I mean, it's not because you're dark skinned, it's just you're not pretty. And men like pretty women. So, I mean, you can use that as an excuse. Like I said, I can name plenty of pretty dark skinned women. Some of those women you put on there I don't want to talk about nobody, but I'm just saying, sometimes it just might be you're not cute. And like we gotta, it is what it is. And not just because you dark skinned, because there's plenty of light skinned women that's not that attractive either. But, kind of, leaning into that, it's like, nah, it's just, you're not that pretty.
Yeah. Now I will say this, and I remember growing up hearing this, and I still believe it to this day. is that I would see men put more of a light-skinned woman that's average looking on a pedestal than a prettier, darker-skinned woman.
Yeah. And it goes back to what you were talking about earlier. The satire piece, School Days. I love that movie too. And it's like some of those last couple, those posit shows that you had. It's like I wish I could play the Lawrence Fishburne "Wake Up" at the end of the bell. I'm like, damn, we need to play that. Like, it's a shame, but unfortunately, this is what the white supremacy and the European standard of beauty has kind of done to our community, and it's confused us to a point where we think we're ugly if we're dark, or if our lips are fuller, or if our eyes are more kind of slanty, or if our nose is white. You know what I mean? Our skin is darker. On the real talk, if people really want to know, in secret, as I've talked about before, they're mimicking your looks though. They're taking melanin shots. You know what I mean? They're doing all these type of things to be infused with the power of melanin, which we already have. So you got to understand there's something more to it that they know, that I guess a lot of our people don't know yet, the greatness and the currency of our skin tone.
I got you. Eugene, how you sound? There we go.
Yeah, now you better.
Let me tell you something. It's not only your sight that this happens.
It's not?
It's not only your sight this happened. The other night, I think it was Chantel's channel. This happened as well.
Oh, it did it too? Okay.
Yeah, it did it too.
Not just me.
Yeah, but anyway, it's a self-esteem thing from what I'm looking at here. Okay, it's a self-esteem. It seems like, from the beginning of time, of slavery, they had this real bad self-esteem on all of us, so bad that we look to, to make us feel better, we just look at each other and try to, look down on each other just to make us feel better. Just like that the dark-skinned woman with the glasses you showed. I mean, she wasn't bad looking, but her rejection, her getting rejected because of her skin color, and it was because of her skin color, right? Yeah, because of her skin color did make her, want to get angry, and it's just out of frustration. It reminded me of me, and it's not because of skin color, but it reminded me of me where, during my college and high school, where I get rejected so many times, and it was a real feeling. Okay, it will make you get mad and do things, and that's what happened to her. Now, you said she ended up going with a white man, right?
Yeah, she said that she didn't feel like black men wanted her. She got upset and she got rebellious. And because of that rebellion, she decided to date white men and married one.
Okay, so she got mad at black men. She started hating them.
Well, I don't know if she didn't necessarily say that she hated black men.
Oh, okay.
But again, her story was a lot that I hear in the divestment community, where they feel they're not desired by black men. And again, I just started looking at all these, and I just was looking at them, and all the content creators in that particular space are darker skinned women. I've not seen a light skinned woman say that, I don't like black men. I'm only dating white men from now. They don't want us. I haven't heard a light skinned woman say it yet.
Okay, because I'm looking at this woman, right? And she didn't really say she hated black men. And she's happy that she found a man who like her, and again, she's not ugly at all. And the white man, she's not ugly. Yeah, she's definitely not, and that white man, at least looked at her.
Mm-hmm.
But her thing is, out of her frustration, th- there might have been some black men who might show an interest in her, but because of how frustrated she was, just because of her low self-esteem, she did not give these other men a chance at all. You know,
Let me ask the fellas here, since I got my guys on here. Do you guys see a correlation when we're looking at the black manosphere and then we're looking at these women, quote unquote, divesting or, not being considered the select type, the non-select? Do you see a correlation where it's like kind of the same, like the same issues that a lot of men are having in the red pill community is a lot of that the other side of women are having? It's just so extreme on both.
Yes.
Like, am I the only one that's seeing it? Because it's like it's the same issues that they're having. It's the red pill, and some of these men, the women don't want us, and
These
they
two groups need to
prefer.
get together.
Exactly.
absolutely.
It is like I
Absolutely.
really, really feel like it's just two extremes, and I
But
want to show that both of them get
but
it
again,
wrong.
if we can be honest, I'm speaking for the man side. You can kind of more attest to the woman side. A lot of times, I'm keeping it a bug. These women aren't that attractive. And to go back to another point, when I was mentioning about the supermodels, if you notice, most of those women were married to white men too.
That's true.
The darkest, so it's like, again, and we, the white man's opinion is law, right? Black people. So what does that say if the darkest women he deems to be beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sometimes the dark skinned black women that people put up there are usually not American black women. Like the ones you see on like the models that the Lupitas or whatever, they're not the Gabrielle Unions, they're not the Kelly Rowlands, they're the exotic
Beautiful girls, you name it. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, they're all beautiful
They're from
women,
the islands.
Right.
but when people are when they're putting black dark skinned women up there, they're usually not American black.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying from an aspect of the woman, period, it's a darker woman. That's my point. Brown skin or darker
Yeah, you're
women.
right. You're right.
Usually when white men marry black women, they want to marry a dark brown skin or dark skinned women. You don't see them with a light skinned woman usually. They usually like the darker skin, slimmer woman, natural hair. That's what they go for, so
I mean, it all comes
that
down
says
to
a lot, and again, like I said, I don't need him to co-sign what beauty is to me or black beauty is to me, because I love our women. But that's my point. What I was saying is very ironic that the beauty standard of what he likes or deems beauty when he steps out and deals with black women is the darkest type that he can find.
Courtney,
Repeatedly, white men have been doing this. It's if you see an interracial couple, usually the woman is dark skinned. She's not
Courtney,
like Courtney's complexion.
You went to a HBCU. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I heard that back in the days, before you have to pass the paper bag test to get accepted into HBCUs, right?
Back in the day, that's true. So I went to Tennessee State University.
So if that's the case, then these things are more internal with us, and we have to find a solution for that.
Well, let me tell you a school that I know did it for sure. Was Fisk University. Fisk University is right next door to Tennessee State University, and there was a paper bag test and this was back, I want to say the 60s and the 70s. So it wasn't that long ago where they did a paper bag test. Tell you an interesting point too. Now that I'm thinking about it, I applied to Howard. Now I graduated high school a while ago, but I remember doing the application to Howard and Spelman that I had to bring in a picture. So they wanted you to send in a picture with your application. And I didn't understand why. And I was like, why are they wanting a picture? And again, it goes to they wanted to see you. And a lot of times it was they wanted
there's a type where they all look the same kind of. You can go to any,
Yeah. So for Howard and also Spelman, they wanted you to send in a picture with your application to see what you look like and if colorism.
So how do we fix it? How do we combat this?
That's why we're talking. How
I
do
mean,
we?
the one
And
thing I
I'm going to
think,
get Mr. Moore too. Go ahead, Max. I'm sorry.
yeah, the one thing I think that we can probably help is, I mean, because it's a little bit like what I said before. I mean, the dating preferences, honestly, I don't know if anybody can fix that. Maybe, more representation in media and things like that, but people are going to like what they like.
Mhm.
And, I mean, that's sort of how maybe I internalized it, me growing up as a young man, trying to talk to women. If they don't like me, I'll be like, okay, they like what they like. I mean, they have a right to like what they like. I'm not trying to change that. I want to go where people actually like me.
Right.
So, but I think what we gotta really crack down on as a community is just literal the hate and the preconceived notions. If she's dark skinned, she's this attitude. If she's dark skinned, she's mean. If she's dark skinned, she's this, she's that. I think that is something that we can definitely tackle as a community
Yeah.
to at least that portion. I mean, the dating, I think the dating preference definitely does hurt people's feelings. I think men get that too. I mean, hey, if you don't meet a certain stature or a certain look or have a certain things in your bank account or what have you, you're not going to be deemed as viable for someone to date as well. I mean, and the women of have a right of refusal to
Mhm.
deny that
Yeah.
and go after what they want, and so do men. But I think the other stuff, the hatred, the preconceived notions, the media depictions,
Mhm.
that part is what is disturbing to me, and
Yeah.
I think that is well within our control to solve.
You're absolutely right. I agree. What's going on, Mr. Moore?
Hey, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. What you got for us?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic topic. I
Thank you.
agree with a lot of the points you guys were saying. My 2 cents on it is, everybody's going to have, in terms of dating, people are going to have preferences, right? For some
Mhm.
people, it might be skin color. For others, it might be height, weight. If your beard connects, like people have, people have all types of preferences in terms of looks. And you've already touched on it. There is colorism on both sides of the spectrum. Women towards men and men towards women. But I
Mhm.
think at the end of and that won't stop. That won't stop. But at the end of the day, I think it's important for us to not allow a person's complexion. Like we shouldn't have preconceived notions, right? So a
Right.
person can be dark as the night, but that doesn't tell you what's in that person's heart. And the opposite end of that can be true. A sister or a brother could be light skinned, whatever it might be, and they could be down for the cause to the truest sense. So we have to, I think, in my mind, get away from identifying ourselves in terms of what is the richness of what it means to be black based on the complexion of a person's skin, and get to a point where we're seeing past that and actually getting to know what level is this person on intellectually, what are their goals, their objectives, what are their plans, what are they trying to bring to the community, as opposed to you know how dark skinned they are, how light skinned they are, and then kind of like discriminating upon them based on those factors. Because what we actually do by doing that is we're barring people who could be our allies because they might be in some instances too dark or in some instances too light, and that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, and anyone can answer it. Because I heard this talking about President Obama. And one of the reasons why white folks felt comfortable with electing him was because he was lighter. And that if he came out looking like Malik Yoba, he probably wouldn't have won. Do you guys believe that? The color isn't, do you think that played a role with him getting elected?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this conversation with Glenn Lowry, and they were talking about Sidney Poitier, who just died, and they were saying that one of the reasons Sidney Poitier became popular was because he was palatable, because he wasn't an African American black, he was a Caribbean
Mm-hmm.
black, and because of that, it was more digestible for the greater society in America to digest him. So he laid the foundation for other, like the Negro to come in and do what they could do.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be that. I think that carries a lot of weight.
Yeah. So
You
I
have to
think.
be threatening and have crossover appeal. So people like that, people like President Obama, people like Wayne Brady, people like, you know what I mean? They're
Mm-hmm.
deemed cross. You know, even back in the day, Bill Cosby. You know, they're not punch you in your face black. They're okay. That's my funny black neighbor that lives down the street. He
Yeah.
speaks so well, you know, it's that type of black person. So this is why. But if you, again, I'm old enough. I mean, I was young, but I'm still old enough to remember when Jesse Jackson ran for president.
Mm-hmm. Oh
He was
Lord.
talking about black folks and black, so that was too polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a clean cut, mixed Kenyan black man who's eloquent and charismatic. That's less threatening than versus me running for president.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
and do you remember, like, people always say how articulate Obama was? Oh, he speaks well.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks well. Like, people say that a lot about Obama.
Cringy, yeah.
Yeah. So I say that to say, if society is looking at, picking the president because they're more comfortable with the lighter skin, and that's coming on a man's side, then think about how women feel, then darker skinned women, because dark skin has never been an adjective for anything positive. If you have dark thoughts, if you have dark comedy, it's always been something negative. And I think we put that on ourselves, and especially we perpetuate it as being black folks upon our black women. And they feel, from what I've seen, and again, I can't speak for dark-skinned women, but from what I see and being around dark-skinned women and what I hear, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. Do they feel like an outcast within our community sometimes? And they do. And I think how we fix it is look at individuals, look at them. That's how
Hey,
I feel like we need to do to our men. Quit putting black men in a whole damn bubble. You guys
hey,
are different.
Courtney.
Yeah.
But I think these
And say, let me
conversations,
get you too, darling. Go
I
ahead.
think these conversations are good because it makes people aware of what's happening,
Yeah.
and that they can be cautious about what they say and what they do. And even though it's your preference to date, you prefer lighter skinned women or whatever, but at least you think about it. Like, why do I prefer this over that?
Right.
And sometimes some people just, well, they grew up liking what they like, but never thought about why do I like what I like.
Yes.
And
Yes.
because these conversations are happening more, it makes you question it, and then you have to sit with yourself and think like, all right, why do I like this again? And I think these are very important conversations that need to be had.
I totally agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it is, you know, black men will or are sexually attracted to them. They will pursue them sexually, but do they consider them beyond that? And maybe it's because, I think what Chef said is like, hey, you have to say why. You have to sit with yourself, and you have to be honest with yourself and understand why. Courtney, I did want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Did you see or have an opportunity to see Oprah's For Colored Girls?
I did.
And the interesting thing with that wasn't the necessarily because it was like a couple of parts to it. They had one for colored girls, and then they had one for light girls. And then it was interesting because the light girls have an interesting experience as well. talked about how black girls beat them up, thought they were better. I remember Raven Simone was on there saying that when she was on the Cosby Show and was on like the Disney Channel, I think, with Cheetah Girl, she was trying to go to the tanning
to
salon
get darker.
dark
I did
her
see
her
that.
skin so that people would consider her black. And it was an interesting dichotomy that I thought was that we're literally just hurting each other. It's mutually assured destruction. And, you know, trauma is being felt on one side and trauma is being felt on the other side. And we all have preconceived notions from one side to the other. And it's unnecessary. And it literally is causing trauma for all of us. I just think that, I mean, literally just opening up our hearts, really embracing each other, and stopping the hate. I mean, stopping the hate and things like that. And I mean, I'll even give a quick story here, if I may. And you know, I went with a bunch of guys. It was a bunch of guys. It was a bunch of white guys. It was work colleagues. I went with a bunch of guys to a gentleman's club where they had, and I'll keep it PG, I promise, where they had a bunch of women there performing, and it was one black woman, one dark-skinned black woman, and let's just say, you know, I wanted to spend a one-on-one lap dance time.
You were trying to get a private dance. You can say it, Max. I've been to a strip club before. I know.
Yeah, I got you. And she kept skipping over me, and she literally kept skipping over me. I was trying to give her eye contact. She kept skipping over me. I had to walk her down and say, "Hey," and then she was like, "Yeah." And then we actually spent quite a bit of time together. And she literally said that black guys, it's a waste of time for her because they literally don't want her. She would, you know, she thought it was more economically feasible for her to go elsewhere. And she was, you know, pleasantly surprised. But I thought that was interesting too. It was an interesting experience, I thought.
That the strippers even feel it.
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
I feel you. Hey, Sayla. There you go. How are you? I can't hear you, so I don't know if you're double muted or not, Sayla. And then I'll get, well, you could try again, Sayla. I'll go ahead and get produced by yours truly. If you're there, if not, I would. There you
Hey
go.
guys, can you guys hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you.
I kind of like the topic. I think it kind of go both ways, men and women. I kind of experienced that issue as well when I was younger. Coming from another country, I was born in Africa, so I was kind of teased a little bit when I was in elementary. So it does kind of affect you a little bit. So you being a kid, you probably won't understand the issue, but as soon as you get older, it's gonna start affecting you a little bit. But for me, I kind of experienced it when I was in school, mostly coming from America, experiencing that issue, not knowing the English very well. So that it kind of affected me with other people saying all the stuff about me. So that's pretty much my experience about it. It can go both ways with men's and women's.
Well, tell me a little bit about your experience as far as with colorism on your end. Were people making fun of you when you came over here because of your complexion?
Correct. It was actually mostly from people who looks like me. So that was kind of the hardest part. So I was kind of confused when you're young. You kind of confused. You seeing people who just look like you, but they're making fun of the same color as you. So it's kind of confusion on that part. Most of the people that kind of treated me well, I would probably say it was mostly just like a different race. of people. So that's mostly my experience as far as when I came up here when I was younger in schools. So I think it also start young when you see those when you see older people having um about this topic, when you see older people talking about it, they want to date like a certain race. Always look at how they grew up. It's probably something when it was young, it was affecting them. That's why they're making those positions, or they haven't healed on that aspect of situation yet. So that's kind of my experience.
I'm going to play something because I'm glad that you brought that up. There was something that I saw the other day, and want to get you guys' perspective on it. Let me bring it up.
To a dark skinned partner. 3, 2, 1, go.
I prefer a light skinned partner to a dark skinned partner. I don't play them colorism games over here.
All right. So the reason why subconsciously for me, the reason why I feel that way is, growing up, I was always, bullied for my skin color. I always felt out of place. I was always told I'm not black enough. And when you constantly hear that and you get beat down with that, and you doubt yourself. And like I said, I grew up in a broken home. I grew up in a foster care system, so it took me a long time to figure out myself. And for a lot of times, I don't tell a lot of people this, but I used to hate the way I looked. I was like, I don't like being dark skinned. I want to be light. And I'm just being honest. But now I'm more comfortable with myself.
I guess I have a question. Do you think it's because you look at a potential partner as lighter skinned so that your potential children or so would be lighter skinned so they don't have to go through what you feel like you went through?
Nah, at the end of the day, for me, I'll marry whoever I seem fit. So it really doesn't, to me, matter about the skin color. But I will admit, subconsciously, I do think, when I see a light-skinned woman, I actually, look a little longer, or I might linger a little longer, or be a little more interested, just because of, that consciousness that I had growing up. So it's not something that I say that dark-skinned women are far unsuperior or light-skinned women are more superior. It's just because of the constant beat down and the constant hatred about me being dark-skinned and the way I was treated, that subconsciously I do think that way.
Do you feel like you have some sort of self-hatred because of that?
Yeah, well, not anymore, because it took me a long time. I mean, this started happening, like I said, when I was 6, when I got in foster care. So, but now I'm more comfortable with looking at myself. I'm a good-looking, tall glass of chocolate milk. So, I would.
So this was a guy that admittedly said that he preferred lighter skinned women, but it's because of childhood trauma that he wasn't looked upon. He got made fun of being dark skinned. And I guess people saying that dark skin wasn't good enough or wasn't attractive enough. And so that kind of maybe changed his outlook on dating and wanting to get someone that didn't look like him.
I can believe it. This is what happens when, again, you're submerged in white supremacy. Where does that ideal come from? Mm-hmm. Where does, again, most of us, all of us up here are black, but I've heard, you younger, you playing outside. Don't be out in the sun too long. You're going to get too black. Mm-hmm. This ignorant shit like that. And you're hearing that you're hearing that as a kid from an adult. So where's the adult learning it from? So this is why I'm saying, once we understand the reasoning, unfortunately, because of a lot of trauma that has happened to a lot of us, black people, the trauma and the programming, we have to understand that this is what happened to us. But once we realize it, we kind of have to try to, you kind of have to make amends and fix that. You can't be, and nobody's perfect, but I'm saying there has to come a time where you have self-realization, which sounds like he does now. But I mean, it's just something constantly that you have to work on and be self-aware about, because you can't go around because something happened to you and your child. And granted, it is I'm not downplaying what he felt or what people go through, but we just have to understand a lot of this stuff, where it comes from and why it's happening to us. And
Yeah,
That's a
I
great
agree.
point. We
Say
got to
what?
think about this. We're all adults, right? So why is it that we are called black and Europeans in America are called white? See, there's a little bit of wordplay involved in that, a little bit of like subconscious meaning behind doing that way. This is all designed this way on purpose, and we can't ignore
by
that.
them.
Act like that's not the case. But the danger of it is, well, the good news is, as y'all saw, the majority of the brothers didn't have no issue with that.
Yeah.
Right. But the bad news is, okay, it's obvious that to some extent we are perpetuating self-hatred upon ourselves, and it's impacting the minds of the next generation. So how do we fix the problem? We got to start treating each other the right way. We can't be, and I'm not trying to sound funny here, but we can't be black towards one another. I'm not trying to sound funny, but I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. We can't be mean to one another. We can't always be treating one another like we're less than, or looking down on a brother, looking down on a sister, having all these preconceived wicked notions about one another. Granted, it's going to be some bad apples. You got to look out for them, right? But for the most part, when you see another black person, smile, say hello. How are you? Have like manners and treat one another the right way. And if we do this from our babies to our elderly, then we can change this. We can change it, but it's not going to start until we like start treating one another with love and more so compassion and respect. I'm telling you, like, I didn't really get exposed to any of this type of stuff that you guys are talking about until I got to middle school. Growing up, I was raised around like my family, my grandparents, my mother and all of them. Beautiful black family, nothing but love, no real negative energy with any of them. The women, the men, none of that. I didn't see any of that until I got to middle school and went to the inner city a little bit. Then you start being around different types of people and you start seeing like, man, some people are subconsciously walking down a path of self-destruction. They're walking against themselves. And we as black people suffer from this more than any other race of people. And when you look at like the data, it concurs with that. It's because people have this mentality of what it is to be black. To be black, I have to be a certain way. This is the reason why you got these young people in the streets. They think it's cool to be out here walking around, looking stupid to anybody with common sense. You wearing your pants down at your knees, walking around here looking crazy. You look crazy, but to them, they think it's no problem. They think that's what they're supposed to be doing. And see, that's that mental brainwashing that people have to break. And it's so much of that we have to undo and then replant new seeds that can like lead to a more fertile, a better outcome. Otherwise, we're gonna keep hurting ourselves.
I totally agree.
Yours truly, where are you from? Which country were you from?
I'm from the Congo. And I kind of agree with what you guys are saying. Yeah, definitely when you are young, like you don't know what to do because your mind is still developing. But as you get older, you're gonna start understanding a little bit more. I mean, I got over it a long time ago, but when I was just young, in my middle school, that's when I experienced those issues. Also, I want to. It seems like we are like the most targeted people, especially black. Just when you
Say
say
that
black,
again. You said the most what?
targeted.
Oh, targeted. Okay.
Just when you say black, it is associated with so many negative things. Even if you say African, it's like you associate with uh like a third world countries. You already have that mindset. It's like we are constantly being attacked, and we are obviously we are taking it because we spreading those rumors about ourselves, and that's the most painful way that I'm seeing it now. Is like as I got older, and I'm seeing that so many people are just falling for it.
Let me ask you a question because when I played that last clip from Jubilee and the guy, like I said, reminded me of what you were saying. So because you were talked about because of your skin tone, has that affected you on the women that you date? do you prefer maybe lighter skinned women because of how you were treated?
No, I only did black women. It
Okay.
hasn't affected me as I got older because I got smarter. Um,
Mm.
I kind of associate myself with people who, because I have my both of my parents, so I kind of emulate my parents, seeing them they're still married, so I kind of emulate that relationship with my parents. Um, yeah, that's one of my experience. So yeah,
Okay.
I prefer black
Okay.
women.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
like
Thank you.
even me to an extent, like because I'm an immigrant just like you too. I moved
Mhm.
here 6 years ago. I'm from Liberia, and when I came here, I had my even though my issue wasn't about color because coming from a country that everybody's black, everybody kind of look like you. That's not really a thing you talk about. But when you come here, you meet family members and they tell you, stay away from those African Americans. They ain't up to no good. You get those kind of advices and stuff. So like I had to do my own unlearning some negative shit. I had to put myself in a position to learn and be open to accept certain things that were taught to me
Mhm.
and confront certain biases that I had towards people that look like me. Because like I think that one of the issue that happens, like that's why this huge divide between like the Africans and African Americans is like because when you're from a country majority black, like my name is Vi Chief. Vi is my tribe. My tribe is Vi. If somebody asks me back home, what are you? I tell them I'm Vi. So being black is not an identity. So I came to America and done and people was like, "Oh, you're black." Like, wait, what is that? So it's not that I wasn't aware that the color of my skin is black, but it just wasn't a part of how I identify.
Mhm.
So like accepting, like I had to read a lot, learn a lot, put myself in spaces like this to be open to learn from because I'm here, I live here now. So I have to, and when people see me, I don't have Liberia written on my forehead. So people see me as a black man. And I went like, even now, I think I just started making African American friends. Most of my friends are
Mm.
from Ghana, Sierra Leone, uh, Nigeria, and these other places. So my bubble for a long time was very isolated and very, you know, that. So even me myself, I'm going through a huge unlearning some of the shit that I've kind of been passed down to me in a way.
Okay.
So
Is that on the black culture here that you're having to unlearn?
well, like
No.
yeah, mostly, but it's not like the whole thing about black culture is like I don't like I don't know how to answer that.
Mhm.
I think I'm just gonna say
Okay.
the culture is a little bit out there a little bit. Our culture in America is I think it's kind of not black people in general, but I just think our culture in America, being in America, in general, the culture is kind of messed up um, for everybody. That's for my opinion. It's not particular to a race, but I just think the culture in America, we tend to be more free. I mean,
Mhm.
I like being free, but I think sometimes free it kind of destroy people's. We don't have like a some type of what can I say? Yeah, it's just like free in some. Let me think about it a little bit. But free, I
Okay.
think
No, you go
sometimes
ahead.
free. Yeah.
I want to get Sayla on here. She's been waiting. How are you?
Hi, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Finally!
I can
I
hear
had
you.
to reboot my computer. This happened with Kay as well when I was speaking with her a few months ago.
Oh,
How you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you been? Good to talk to you again.
I love you. It's
I
good
love
to
you
talk
too.
to you. You have the best topics, so I really appreciate it. I hope I'm not too loud, guys. It's not too loud, eh?
You
My
sound
audio?
You
Okay,
sound clear to me. You're
perfect.
good. What you got for us?
I think sunlight is the best disinfectant, and I think talking about topics like this brings it to the front. And you reminded me of Beyonce. A few years ago, she came out with a song because people were mocking her baby. Her baby, an innocent, pure baby. All babies are innocent. She released that song saying, I like my baby's hair with baby hair
Oh,
and
yeah.
afro. I like my Negro nose with Jackson 5 nostrils. A baby was
Round.
already getting that. Yeah, a
Yeah.
little baby girl, black baby girl, was already hearing that stuff out in the media or whatever, those chat rooms. People were saying the worst things about a black baby. And so I feel like this is ingrained at an early age. And you know, as a woman, Courtney, I don't think that men understand this, but it was only recently that there were makeup shades for dark-skinned women.
That's true.
Rihanna
That's
opened
true.
up that
Our
line and
painting.
said,
Yes, she did.
exactly, and said, you know what, my sisters, I will get you the shades that you need. They all used to lump us together in NC45 or whatever else. That's a shade for, if the guys don't know, a makeup shade that majority of black women are supposedly. But yeah, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. Tiny little cuts here and there, and you know, it adds up. So I saw this in the manosphere as well. It's exactly what you said, Courtney. If a woman is black, dark skin, she will automatically get negative feedback, negative treatment, even if she says the same thing as someone else.
Yeah.
There's a hatred. And I'm so sorry. I don't mean to upset anybody, but I'm not convinced. I'm not persuaded. You know, I think that deep down inside, I've seen it too many times to think otherwise. I do see it. I see it. I didn't grow up with it. I grew up in a majority white and native community. I can't really say where, guys, but I never grew up with that. So it was shocking to me when I first saw it. It broke my heart. It was just disturbing, and nobody really wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
And not only that, I noticed, sorry to interrupt you, Courtney, is that
Go ahead.
if there's a group of black women, they'll be treated very well. But then all of a sudden, when there's a white woman, a Hispanic woman, and other women around, all of a sudden the treatment changes and they get treated worse. And I've seen this a million times. And it's like, why? What's going on? It's the same thing in a micro, you know, with light-skinned women and dark-skinned women. It's the same thing kind of happening. So it upsets me. I can't ignore it. I will call it out. I wanted to call it out on a different show. I tried calling and calling and calling, but it was full because you got to call in advance. But you have to just call it out and say, what's going on? What is this? This is unacceptable.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like when we talk about darker skinned women, like the makeup, you know, just now, you know, darker skinned women are able to have a hue for them. And so they get overlooked in a lot of different ways, and it gets pushed under the rug. And it's because a lot of, you know, not even just saying black men are not really speaking about it, or maybe it doesn't bother them because it doesn't affect them as women. But even lighter skinned women, like we know these things happen. I know personally that I've had men tell me they're attracted to me because of my skin tone. It's because I'm not dark. I've had men tell me that. If you were darker, I don't know if I'd be able to rock with you.
You
Still
see?
the same person. So I've been told that. So to act like it doesn't exist or to not speak about it, you know, you have a preference, yes. But again, does preference change? Well, historically it has. We talked about, you know, black men and how that completely changed. But again, I think a lot of this is ignorance. We don't know why we have a preference. We just go along to get along. But then once we backtrack, listen, and look and see, you know what, I do have a preference because it's because of this, or it's because of that, and understand someone's plight. I'll tell you this: I used to have a preference with men when I was younger. I used to be a little Al B. Sure, let me get a little light skin, curly haired. And when I got older, more mature, and understanding more of my culture and loving it and being around Black folks, like I said, I went to a HBCU. The reason being is because I was around a whole lot of white folks, and I wanted to be around people that looked like me. And a lot of my perceptions that I was getting about Black people was a lot of TV stuff. I don't think people realize this, and I realized this about myself, that a lot of white people that are not around Black people look at TV and get a perception. Black people do the same thing that are not around Black people. They look at TV, and if they don't have Black
That's a
people
fact.
surrounding them, teaching them how they act and be proud to be a Black person, but be who you are, and they're looking to connect with Blackness, and they don't have it around them, they go to TV too. That doesn't get talked about. We can talk all day about white folks looking at Black people and perpetuating the negative stereotypes, and that's why white people look at us this way, Spanish people look at this way. Black people do it too. The Black kids that are not around Black folks, friends, family, and surrounded by people that don't look like them, in order for a lot of them to connect, they go to social media. They go to movies. And that's why a lot of times you look at Black kids that grew up in the suburbs, you be like, why are you trapping? There is no reason why you out there on the corner and your parents are doctors. Because
A
they
lot
want
of
to
times
connect.
it's the caricature of a Black person, so
Mhm.
it's deemed to be cool and exciting. So this is why it's like it's overly done, you know.
Yeah, it is.
So
And I saw myself doing that again, going to a white high school and working. I was the only Black girl there, and wanting to connect with something that looked like me. And I would go to, different avenues, TVs, and I would be like, okay, well, the dark-skinned Black man, well, he's maybe like a thug. That's all I see on TV, or he's not going to treat me right. So I'll just get a light-skinned dude. They seem to be, sing me a little love song. It can be sweet to me.
so
Until
what you
I
like? What you like
unlearned.
now?
I like some melanin. I ain't even I like a little chocolate. But I mean,
Okay.
I'm more open. So I don't look at a man and like, okay, he's he's light skinned, so he's gonna be a Drake, or he's dark skinned, so it must Wesley Snipes strong. I'm getting a blade. I'm well aware of what I used to think, and are able to come to conclusion that people are people.
You make a good point.
Mm-hmm.
You do. There's something, it might be controversial. I apologize to anyone in the live stream. But my father would get really, really, really upset when people would call biracial actors or actresses or politicians Black. And he'd say, no, they're biracial. They have one parent that's white. Just because, and he makes a good point there, it's an excuse to say, oh, well, we do have a Black person. Here is that Black person. It's like, no, that's biracial. That's dark white. Just as light Black is a person, that person could be dark white as well. So I feel like you see that a lot as well. You see, and this is no offense to anyone who's biracial, multi-ethnic, but this idea that there's you could be Black as well, but it just crowds out, it pushes out the dark skin. I don't know how to articulate that.
A lot of times society deems that child as Black, though. That's why.
Not for us. I'm so sorry.
Not
Society.
for no. What I'm saying is, if people. Okay, so people I keep seeing in the chat saying that you're Mexican or something like that, which is cool, it's fine. But what I would like to teach to people who are not from here and understand the history of this country There's the drop rule. There's the. I mean, you guys need to know these things before you speak on them. This is why a lot of times, and this is part of the history, and I know Courtney knows this too. The HBCU. This is why this was created, so that the mixed kids, the slave masters kids, could go to school, college. Yes. Not with the, you know, that's the history kind of behind that. But a lot of times society, even if you teach them that, that's cool and that's great. But a lot of times white folks will look at you and be like, nah, that's not one of us. And if you guys don't know it or not, I'm just saying, speaking as a black person, this is, and I want people that are not from here to understand this. Like, in this country, in the history of this country was built on racism. It's in the bone marrow of this country. This is how they go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Derek. I get it. I'm not a Mexican.
I didn't. And if you were, it's cool. I'm just saying, people in the chat were saying she's not Mexican. I'm like, what are they? Whatever. It doesn't matter. But I was just saying. The point what I was making is, a lot of, and you're right, they are two races. They are, but unfortunately, you know.
I get it. Why I'm saying this is maybe I have a different perspective. I don't disagree with you. Multiple perspectives. I'm Black. I'm first generation immigrant. My parents are from East Africa. My father is as Black as the ace of spades. Blacker than your TV screen. I've never seen another man as, he's almost nilotic in shade, and my mom is extremely fair, and sometimes people question if she's Black. So my family has all different shades of, my siblings and I. But in Africa and other parts of the world, I noticed that people are multi-ethnic, they're biracial, they're mixed. Yes, the one-drop rule has existed. Yes. But I feel like it's a time for us to retire that, because I am sorry if I'm getting off topic.
No, you're right. We can, but I'm saying they're not going to. It's cool for us to. We've been going along, but I'm saying and again, this is why you have to know who they are and what they're about. If the white man don't care if you're a Black person from Africa, you're a black person from England, if you're a Black American. They group us all in the same group. That's the point I'm trying to make.
What I'm trying to say now is that a lot of people, it's no longer undesirable to be called Black. I'll see a lot of biracial people, like, for example, Meghan Markle. Her whole life, she went as a Caucasian woman on her resume, ambiguous roles. But the minute it benefited her to say she's Black, there's a shift, is what I'm trying to say, where there are advantages to claiming to be Black now. I don't, in media, for biracial people, for light skin, for biracial people, not light skin, say, but if you have one parent who is white and you're saying I'm Black, it's like, but a dark skinned sister is not going to get the same treatment, so it's confusing because there are different shades everywhere, but like, I don't know.
You know what?
She's a good example of what you use. But best believe over there in England, they knew she was Black.
But they were afraid of her because she was Black. She was,
and that's my point. It matters to them. This is what I'm trying to get across. White folks keep this going. It's not us. They know the difference. They know that we don't want you to be part of this air. You need to denounce your throne or whatever, because at the end of the day, this is a Black woman. And if you have a child, listen, if you have a child, they're going to consider your child Black.
That's not how I meant. Oh, sorry, go ahead. What I meant is that they were afraid that she would use the racism against them. They were extra sensitive because she declared herself as Black, started tanning her skin, starting wearing darker makeup all of a sudden. And so I'm not, I'm pretty fair skinned myself. I'm not calling out anyone. I'm just saying that there's only a few positions or spots, and they're given to light skinned women there's a push out for dark-skinned women. Like the definition of black has to mean it. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I just think that
I understand what you're trying to say. I understand what you're both trying to say, because Derek, I know that, society will look at someone mixed and you black. So I get it. But when we're in our culture, and when, let's just say, Tracy Ellis Ross, biracial, of course, society will look at her as black, but now she has a hairline and she's all, oh, it's hard to be natural, and when your hair is frizzy. And as a black woman that have black hair, you can't relate to me, Tracy Ellis Ross, because you have mixed hair. So you and your natural is different from me and my natural.
Exactly.
You can't experience as a black woman that has to deal with this. And the 4C sisters, you don't have that. You have the curls. You're able to wash and go.
Exactly.
A lot of black women don't have that luxury to do that. So you're different than us.
Thank you. You nailed it. You said exactly what I wanted.
We get it that society, oh, you look at black, but they understand a mixed woman and they'll praise the mixed woman. They'll use her as black. But again, like we said with Obama, it's the lighter skin complexion, the looser hair, the closer to white is what they would prefer to uplift as black, instead of
exactly
a regular down, dirty South Negro 4C, big nose, lip, big booty woman. And it's her experience is not that of what black women live.
Exactly.
She has the privilege to being a mixed woman than we do as being black.
And we can see that on TV. Like most of the newscasters who are black are like mixed. I think the only dark-skinned black woman on TV is like Joy Reid.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only one. Like all the rest is like mixed with something, or like very fair skin. Like sometimes you even wonder, like, is she black?
Yeah, but even then, you made a good point earlier as well. What upsets my father, and I agree with him 100%, is that they also get foreign actors, black actors from England, from wherever else. If they were going to get dark skin, it has to be a foreigner.
Yeah, they get a lot of them to play ADOS roles. You're right.
How is that acceptable? Even Samuel Jackson talked about that. Why can't you get black skin actresses, dark skin, that are native to the country? Why do you have I'm not going to watch it, especially if it's historical biopics. How dare you? So I feel like there's a push out for dark skin. Commercial.
Yeah, you're right. And as I was saying about how when they talk about the dark-skinned women they praise are usually not African-American dark-skinned women. It's usually like dark-skinned women from like what's the girl? All these models that they praise who's like super dark is like West Africans or East Africans or North Africans or whatever, but it's never like all British black girls. It's never like African American black girls.
But again, this is why I said you guys got to understand the reason why the machine is doing this.
No, we're not saying that the reason that we're just acknowledging that these things happen, that people put, even if they're acknowledging a black woman, is usually not the African American black woman. It's usually other black women.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm saying there's a reason behind that, and that's why I said earlier, the reason to be divisive, and like I said, and this is why I was saying the initial point. At the end of the day, they do this to divide us, but they all see us as the same. Whether we think that we're all different. We're all from different diasporas. I get it, but to him, we're all one black person. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I don't think so. Because I think they know the difference. If they want to hire actors and they're hiring British actors to play American, don't tell me there's no African American actors that can play Martin Luther King or like.
No, I agree. You're right, but I'm saying they're purposely
they know the difference. That's why
they're purposely doing that. Right? It causes a divide. It causes a divide. They are purposely doing that. That's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. They're purposely making it become an artificial rift between brothers from the continent and people here.
But
like they've always done. Like I said, if you know the history of the country, They did this on the plantation.
But Derek, I hate to say this, and I like you. Please don't get upset with me. I grew up with white people, poor white people. I never seen them say any of this stuff. The only ones I see say this stuff are from the Black community.
But you don't have to hear them say it. They have a track record in history of this is what they do. Everywhere they go, this is what they do. This is not me being in my feelings. This is a fact.
You're not in your feelings whatsoever.
I know I'm not, because I'm saying this is historically accurate. Everywhere they went, they divided and conquered.
I hear that. That's true. That's correct. But I just see so much lethal venom towards dark-skinned women from the Black community. I don't see it from white. In fact, you made a good point, Courtney. I didn't notice that the interracial couples were dark-skinned. I didn't even notice that it would be dark-skinned women.
I noticed it.
I didn't notice it, but I've noticed so many comments, hurtful comments from the Black community. And I don't notice it as much in the African community, East African community. Maybe because it's a taboo, maybe, the most models or beautiful women in East Africa are Black, the ones that they project. So I just never noticed this much venom outside of the Black community. So it's hard for me when you say the machine. I'm just thinking, not on a huge scale level, but on an individual level, some of the things that are said are just so disturbing.
And Derek, I think, yeah, you're right. Racism plays a part and white supremacy plays a part. But at some point, we got to take accountability for the harm we perpetrate towards each other in these communities. We can't just chalk everything up to white supremacists. We have to take accountability for the parts that we play. For the parts that we play in this division.
Okay, let me get Fawcett Media in here. How are you?
Hi, what's happening?
Good.
What's
Good.
happening,
You could probably, we're talking about actors now, and we got one
yeah.
on. So you could probably talk about the colorism in acting, but or just in general the topic that we're speaking about with Black women, dark-skinned Black women in particular. Are they overlooked?
Yeah, I've been acting for over 20 years. So I've been in that either in front of the camera or behind the camera in some capacity for this whole time. I did want to give some pushback to Sayla too, because she mentioned Meghan Markle. I personally know Meghan Markle, and she actually lived her life as a Black woman for the most part, or at least a mixed woman. She grew up with a Black mother. And I think that I just want to put that to bed, because I've heard a lot of people in these spaces actually say that over and over and over. Oh, she figured out she could be mixed. No, it was actually the opposite. Because I got a call we were talking at some point when we were more familiar. And she said, yeah, my agent wants me to go out as ethnic Caucasian, because they discovered the fact, they were like, she could actually maybe pass as like a Priyanka Chopra type character and play in these things. And that's when she started working. That's when she started working most.
I'll get back to you later on that, but I'll let you finish.
You'll get back to me later. I mean, yeah, she, as a mixed person, she had identity crisis at some point, but she was well aware that Black was something in her life that was a determining factor. But as far as dark-skinned actresses right now, every dark-skinned actress I know is working a lot. If you haven't noticed in the past few years, it's actually been a shift in the opposite direction. It's been almost a reaction to the light-skinned trope that only light-skinned people are working. And then also for men as well. So, I'm kind of personally affected by that as a man, because I'm a brown skin on the lighter side, I guess. And I've noticed when they want to sign somebody, like you said, they will go for the genuine article. They would try to get somebody who was closer to a darker hue, who had more melanin to represent Black, because I think that goes into the idea of white men dating darker women And that whole idea that this is the genuine element of blackness, that you don't want any dilution, you know.
Well, let me ask you this question, because I do see currently the switch of seeing more darker skinned women in roles.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's within roles, not necessarily them being considered as desirable as their lighter skinned counterparts. Now, that's what I see.
By who though? By black men or by
Black men.
Okay.
Are they cute?
I would say you really should poll most black men. Most black men love women.
Well, yeah, well, I understand that they love women.
I mean, the
But
straight
but I also understand what black women are saying. So,
Yeah.
and I can also listen to what black men saying. Like I said, I just had put up a clip, Game Changer, and his
Oh
show
yeah,
that
well,
he had a
Rashida
couple days
Strober.
ago.
Rashida Strober is quite a character.
Yes, she is. I checked out her
she's been
page.
saying
She
that
is
for
definitely
years.
interesting. But
About
then,
10.
but again, what he's saying is nothing that you won't hear on other channels. It's, dark skinned women, y'all act this way, y'all are evil. I hear that a
Game
lot.
Changer said
Dark
that?
skin are
Yeah.
evil. And red bone. I want a light skin girl. I mean, this is
I think Game
constant
Changer has a
protest.
foreign lady too. I think he's with a
Well,
foreign
I
person.
don't know who he is.
Well,
I've never
yeah, I
kept
mean-
it, so I don't know. But what I'm saying, not to, talk about him per se, but what he says, I'll hear it a lot of times in this space. And again, when we're hearing that as women, we're like, oh, okay. Darker skinned women are like, darn, they don't want us. That's why I say with the divestment community, all you see, they're dark skinned women that are saying black men don't want them. Go with white men. Those are the one that want us. And then again, who do you see the white men get when they do interracial dating? It's dark skinned women.
No, I love dark skinned women, and like I said, I love all women. But ultimately, like my cousin and I were having a conversation, and we felt like dark skinned women weren't attracted to us necessarily in every situation for whatever reason. But because some of them might actually have gone to interracial dating as an option, as first choice. And it might be overlooking some of the men that might be more interested in them. I think, we can't get over the whole psychological trauma that comes through slavery that we still live with every day.
Yeah.
And how much that informs the
my
decisions.
point.
Because if you had a woman up here, I think conservative black woman, like some of the things she was saying were based from, and I hate to bring her name up right now, she will come.
Okay.
But some of the things she was saying were based on traumas that have happened for years and years and years, and not necessarily to her. So it's like the same thing could be applied to some dark skinned women. Like I said, my cousin and I were looking for dark skinned women at one point, and still are to a certain extent, but not necessarily able to find them in the same way, in the same numbers. Like could it be that every man that they're interacting with is against them, or could it be that the historical tropes and what they find in the media and what they find in popular culture is informing that decision? Because if conservative black woman's in the grocery store, and she's not dark skinned, but if she's in the grocery store and she's putting up a guard and saying that every black man she sees is hostile towards her, that's projection that was built into her mind.
I thought she was pretty dark skinned.
Well, I couldn't tell. It was kind of was off.
I couldn't tell either.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's this kind of pre-programming that goes into every interaction. You coming into it with something negative to say, or these black men were looking at me and my white man and hating on me. No.
And I want to add, we got to keep in mind, like anything negative, it kind of spread quickly. It may be like a small majority, but when somebody says something negative, it kind of spreading to all the people. They thinking that's how everybody is like that. So we just got to keep in mind that's a small majority of people as well.
Yeah. Let me get Catherine in here. Man, she was on here with me with the conservative Black woman. But I would like to get her thoughts. And one community, I'll get you as well, too. Welcome to the panel. Catherine, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Nice to talk to you again. What do you got for us?
Nice to see you again.
Mhm.
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you, or for this topic. I think it's a very important topic as a dark-skinned Black woman.
Mhm.
I definitely can relate with everything that everyone is saying. I believe that we are overlooked in general. I wouldn't say maybe in my experience it's something that happens to me, but in general it happens. I believe that's something that it's worldwide. For instance, in my country, we are only 1% of the population that are like dark, like me, and the the mix for descendants that will make us maybe a total of 8% total. And we definitely see a lot of colorism, mainly between us, actually. Not as much like with the white community, but like the among the diaspora, we will see or we will notice colorism. It has a
Mhm.
lot to do with everything that we've been discussing tonight. For instance, what you see in the media, because as I said, we're a minority, like really, really minority in my country. So sometimes to see or come across Black people, we got to turn on the TV or get online to be able to experience a little more about our people, our culture. So it's challenging. At least for me, it was as a child. It was very challenging. I remember when in kindergarten, I had my first colorism experience. And I remember that, like the light skinned people I'm from Costa Rica, that's where I live. So 80% of the population is either of white descendant or light skin. And I remember as a child going the first day, and I was like the only one who was dark in the class. So the kids were kind of scared of me, and they were asking me if I was dirty or like why my skin was so dark. So imagine that experience at 5, 6 year old,
Mhm.
But it has to do a lot with, I believe, to be able to overcome that type of I don't know if to call it discrimination or racism actually from kids. It all starts at home, because I remember going home crying, and the first person who saw me was my father. And I remember I remember like yesterday, like he hugged me and he told me like I was so beautiful. He took me in front of the mirror and he started literally describing my face. He was like, look at your eyes, look at your nose, do you like it? Look at your lips. You're beautiful. Look at your hair. Do you think you're ugly? And I was like, no. Like I remember, and he was like, because you're not. You're beautiful. And they haven't seen you because they haven't taught them at home. But if you know you're beautiful, I don't want to see you crying anymore. He didn't hug me and be like, oh, my poor child. He was like, no, no. You're a beautiful chocolate little girl. So you're different. Are you the only one that it's dark in your class? And I was like, yes, I'm the only one. He was like, that's perfect. You're unique. So that's what that's the way it was handled at my house. And then my mom did the same. And so I think it's very important that we instill self-esteem from we're kids, because we're going to face it. I mean, it's not going to go away. Hopefully it will eventually one day, but realistically speaking, we're not in a bubble. And I don't see us being like the favorite image worldwide, at least not from like a media perspective, because I think someone mentioned it before. In private, a lot of people are actually attracted to dark skin. Some people even see it as a fetish. Other people actually understand the value of melanin, and truly appreciate a melanated dark skinned person. In my case, I see us as a community, right? Like I believe in the diaspora, we have like different shades. And I think that actually that's one of the beauties of our race. I don't see it as a disadvantage, but as I said, it has to do with the way that I was raised. So that's what I think about that.
I just got a question for everybody.
I'm
I
sorry,
just got
I
a
was on
question
mute.
for
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, and I'll ask you something like later, Catherine.
My question for everybody is I see we talking about problems, but how do we fix them?
I can barely hear.
Yeah, we can't hear you. You sound low.
Can you guys hear me now?
That's better.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I hear we talking about the problems. Well, what about the solution? How do we?
It went back down again.
Now you low again.
Yeah. So he's asking, he's hearing about the problems, but what is the solution?
Come up with a plan and then apply it. Do it, which we have been doing. Again, this is to my brethren, and this is all the love. Research your history. A lot of people are over here because of the stuff that we've done. This is why you're in this country now. This is why a lot of things and the freedoms that people of color abroad come here to this great nation that we built. So we've done the work and we're still doing the work. But what we have to do in a nutshell, what you're asking is continue to talk, plan, strategize, and apply it. Plain and simple. Get busy.
And also, I think there needs to be some internal work as well. There needs to be some healing internally, because no one should be able to ruin your day based on what they perceive as what they want. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a black man that does desire you, trust and believe, but you gotta actually get out of your comfort zone and actually find that person. You know, you gotta, you know, somebody also brought up a point that women don't really talk to men. They don't really, a lot of women, some women will not approach a man. So you're cutting off probably 50% of the eligible men that would want you, you know, because, you know, there's times I'm in a grocery store, a woman is looking my way and I'm like, is she looking at me? No, she's not looking at me. Hey, move on. You know what I'm saying? That could have been, you know, an interaction right there. But yeah, I just, yeah, there's a lot of healing that needs to happen.
Yeah, I agree. What you got for us, one community? Give him a minute.
No, salute to you, Courtney, for this topic. Salute to everybody on the panel. I think everybody's making very valid points. I think that it's a global thing. You know what I'm saying? The prejudices against us, and sometimes our own prejudices against our own people, is really prevalent. Listening to her, Catherine, being from another place as well. You know what I mean? My family's from islands, Africa, countries, different places besides America. So I understand that a lot of those same prejudices happen even on the islands, man. So many people, like in Jamaica and all these islands, people are bleaching their skin. They don't want to be dark skinned. They don't want to be black. So it's not just a thing that's happening in America. It is a problem with us identifying with the beauty of our skin tones. To me, I think the darker the skin tone is the stronger phenotype. And we got to really salute the people that's even the darker, because they damn near these phenotypes and skin tones that I got right now were created by some of these same things. You know what I'm saying? So we know through gene raping, so many things that's happened through civilizations, through histories. You know what I mean? I think we need to be able to see our women as beautiful, black, light skin, whatever they are, every hair type, everything. I don't care if she have a baldy. I don't care if she has a mohawk. We created everything, the beads, everything, all these designs that we see people capitalizing off of right now is all things that we created. So I don't understand why it's okay for people to sell us things, do all these other things, but we can't appreciate our own women. My mother's a dark-skinned woman. I could never be against a dark-skinned woman at all. You know what I'm saying? It led me to a conversation with 10 Toes Down and a couple of people, because they made Sinetta and 10 Toes one day made a channel. They made a panel. And the day they said the Latina woman treats the black man, or treated them, I guess, better than a black woman. But I couldn't believe the concept, because I've had sex with multiple women from all around the world. But
Sinetta is also Latino, though, isn't it?
Black woman, though. But can't nobody treat me better than my mother ever treated me. I don't care what she's doing for me physically and sexually. I get that. That's a slap in the face to your mother. If you have a black that you stand.
You freezing up, man. He cooking too.
I know he was.
Bro, you cooking, man. You freezing up.
Man,
you struggle streaming like me, man. You was cooking. You broke up a little bit.
One community. Isn't Sinetta also Dominican?
He part. So that's why when I was one on 10 Toes Down, I was like, yo, look, first of all, 10 Toes, what are you? Yo, come on, we everything, man. I don't want to hear we everything, because you ain't talking to everything, all right? Because at the end of the day, what are we doing here?
I've been in a relationship with Latin women, right? With Spanish women. Some people
Me
grew up
too.
the same way like us. But I've also been in a relationship with Spanish women, and they had every fight when I was talking with just black women. But yet, we went to McDonald's one day. I don't eat McDonald's. I don't eat none of them things for years. But she was going to McDonald's. She stopped through the drive-thru. I guess the lady was taking long inside the drive-thru. It started a little friction. I'm like, yo, forget about her. We about to go home, go chill. Forget about that. Nah, you picking up for her because she black. Oh, because she black. But if we was both black in that car, only thing she would have said is, I like her. Her being black would have never been a problem. It'd have just been, you like her, I think. So sometimes the same thing that's used and is cool is also used and played against at the same time. So that's why sometimes I do believe in us dealing with each other as black people, because I don't think that we will have a lot of the same issues that we will deal when we deal with other nationalities.
Yeah. Come on, boy. I hear you. One community is not playing today. He said he's had sex with multiple races.
I've had, but I'm most definitely off that mission, and I'm just with the black woman mission, man. I done bungee jumped and parachuted off that mission a while ago too. So you know what I mean. For me, I just think that even the older I get, I think the beauty in the black woman every day. I see so much beauty. I remember being young. Oh, I like light-skinned women with the hair and this and that.
Yeah.
I had to shake myself out that concept.
And I think that's something too, because I said a lot of the issue I think has to do with maturity and understanding. Like, I mean, picking a woman because she has a long hair. I mean, we have preference, but come on, it has to be a point where we're adults to understand.
Hey, fellas.
Me and my baby get a season, all right?
I was getting ready to say, ain't nothing like some dark skin and some baby oil. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's glowing.
Oh my God!
It's glowing,
Okay.
Getting your shine on them cheeks.
Oh, black man unfiltered.
Sailor was trying to give us something too. What's up, Sailor?
Oh, I don't know if I was. But I agree with what you guys said. I think just calling it out is the best thing. Calling it out. Wherever you see it, call it out. Not to hurt people's feelings, not to try to embarrass them, but just to call it out and say, what do you mean by that? Why are you saying that? Why are you calling yourself, blah, 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 whatever, So I don't mean to offend you, Fawcett, if you're friends with Meghan Markle, but it's just calling out, like, why didn't your black family come to the wedding that you had? Not the funeral, God forbid, but calling it out, calling things out. Why are you black now? You were calling yourself Caucasian and biracial. Why didn't you call yourself black in Hollywood? So I'm sorry. I believe in just calling things out directly out in the open to heal. That's the best way, So I agree with you guys. Discussion and talking about it.
Yeah, I think I told you what she said. She never said she wasn't black. That's first and foremost.
Well,
But what was her agent told her that she would be more marketable instead of going out for a black role. She would be more marketable as an ethnic Caucasian.
I hear you,
But
but in her blog, she identified as biracial, which is cool.
No, I think she actually said she was gray at one point, but that was when she was.
But she never once said, "I'm a black woman." And next thing you know, you go to your kid.
She was black.
She's a black woman.
Her mom.
That's black me.
And she was raised by her white father. But sorry about this.
Well, no, her father was around.
Let me get Truth is the Way and Black Man Unfiltered in this. Truth is the Way. What you got for us?
I agree with the idea of colorism, but only on the idea of people gaining certain opportunities in relation to it. But when it comes to the aspect of dating, I think it's a different phenomenon. Because you can't force anyone to date anybody unless we are living, unless maybe you have a straight culture that allows one to have some sense of responsibility to the group. You can't force anybody to date anybody. You can shame them, you can do anything you want to them, but you can't shame them to date somebody. That's my problem with the people that espouse the idea of colorism in relation to dating. I would agree with it when it comes to people having access to opportunities, especially the ladies. But if you make that argument, then men who deem themselves as not desirable by women can also make that argument pertaining on some physical traits or physical attributes that they may be lacking.
Okay. It was kind of hard to hear you a little bit, but I kind of understood a little bit of what you were saying. Truth is the way. Hang out 1 second. Let me get Black Man Unfiltered. How are you, sir?
Hey, sis, what's going on? What's going
Good.
on?
I didn't congratulate you on your sub, so congratulations. For those that don't know, Black Man Unfiltered hit over 500 right now, so congratulations, young man.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate you, Courtney. Come on.
I appreciate you, sir.
Luke,
Yeah,
man.
come on, man. Yeah, man.
I could bring some other people over there. I'm gonna go share.
Yeah, he had, man. We be up all night on his show.
I'm gonna share.
Oh yeah,
all night.
And so I want to talk about this whole colorism thing. So I mean, we even saw it in Hollywood. I mean, even before Hollywood, when we had the women that were slaves, basically, they would take the bright skinned girl and put her in the house, put the dark skinned woman in the field, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you even had movies made about it, about a black woman that had a really light skinned daughter, and she betrayed her mother and turned against her mother to pass as white. And then you, the imitation of life, absolutely. Then you went to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and took Aunt Viv out. And you put a bright skinned Aunt Viv in there. You go to Family Matters, they took the dark mom out and put a light skinned mom in there. You go to My Wife and Kids, the first season.
The sister.
Yeah, the My Wife and Kids, the first season, real pretty little dark girl. The next season, bright skinned tall girl.
Yeah.
Right. So it's been going on for a while. But my thing is this: I think that colorism was not created by us. I think it was created by the powers that be that say, you know what? Listen, you are this. It's been that mentality, because you got white men that say, listen, we're gonna treat these bright skinned black women that pass for white. If you guys haven't seen the movie on Netflix called Pass, please go watch it. Okay. Where this black woman passes as a white woman.
What is it called?
Passing.
Yeah.
Passing.
Yeah, passing. Yeah, please go watch that. That'll teach you a lot. But I want to say to the dark-skinned women out here, I just left a rehearsal, and I was up on stage just singing and getting ready for worship Sunday, and I look over to the right. I've never seen this girl before in my life. I look over to the right, and she was dark as night, but beautiful. And I said, can I move my microphone? I mean, she was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, black, dark skin. So my thing is this. We don't, a lot of men in the manosphere are talking about black women, how the behavior of it is. Mm-hmm. But I don't hear a lot of black men saying, I don't want no black, ugly, old black. You know, it's like, I don't hear it. But I think that we should encourage the women that are doing the right thing, that are walking around here beautiful with the big juicy black lips, like Lapita. Lapita can get it every day. Viola Davis can get it every day. Hell, I go dig up Cicely Tyson. I mean, I'm just telling you.
Tyson.
Yeah, since Whoopi Goldberg. Wait, hold on, I'm going too far. But I'm just saying. I appreciate the dark-skinned woman. We're all black, and God blessed us to be different shades of everything. Yes, we're yellow. We're albino. We're yellow. We're beige. We're peach. We're purple, light purple, bluish. I mean, hell. So we're blessed. We're blessed people, and I think we should take advantage of being blessed people.
Yeah, I hear you. Come on.
We're God's DNA. God's DNA. This is why they're trying to exterminate us and erase us. It hasn't worked, and it's not going to work. We're the original DNA. So we're the mother and fathers of humanity.
Yep, exactly.
Period. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Let me one community, you brought up something interesting that I want to talk about real quick. And then I'm gonna let me see if I can pull it up on my end. Skin bleaching.
Yeah.
Hot mess.
Hot ass mess.
Hot mess.
Again, when we talk about, like I said, the colorism and getting overlooked.
It looks nuts.
I don't
She
necessarily
doesn't look more
see it
attractive.
as far as in Black folks here in the States. I really see it, I guess, with Black folks in other countries. But this is a thing where, again, we're lightening our skin, Black women, to have this beauty concept as, I don't know.
Well, K
And it's
Michelle
noticeable,
actually.
it's not cute, but now it's something that we're not liking about ourselves and our skin. And I know it's media, but with the rising, like Fawcett Media said, with now you're seeing Black women the forefront in movies and TV shows, but this hasn't stopped.
Courtney, do you think it has to do with men's preferences?
Well, the men are doing it too.
No.
The men are doing it too. You seen Sammy Sosa?
Look at
Sammy,
him.
Sammy Sosa look like he feel like he just woke up out the grave and started walking. He look horrible.
I think the difference between the men and the women is that the men are ashamed when they do it, and the women do not prefer the men who do those stuff.
Yes.
And even Lil Kim look like tattooed baby powder.
Yeah. But watch Bob Cartel, who was the biggest making.
Can we agree, man? Can we agree, man, that that's not more attractive? The bleached skin look.
Hell no.
Not at all. It looks fake.
I do not even think the men see more the bleached women as beautiful. I just think that they do it for their own insecurities.
No, it's not.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't really look good.
No, it doesn't.
And all types of stuff like that. It's really not a good
Can I ask a question, guys?
One thing real quick. I was about to say Kate Michelle is actually an American example, but she actually went to Africa and was working with the lady who does the white niches bleaching cream. Yeah, so she's been influenced went back to the continent to get influenced and come back and bleach herself. So now Kate Michelle the next.
She got a lot of mental problems though. She's been through a lot of stuff.
She doesn't even look like herself, period. She has a whole nother face.
Yeah, she's from down your way, isn't she?
She's from Memphis. I don't know why
Man, that's what y'all be doing, Courtney?
No, we don't. No.
Oh, okay. All right. Man.
She's from Memphis.
That's what Memphis honeys be doing. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's sad. But
bleaching and fake booties, clown booties, huh?
But it has to be. Someone said in the chat, mental illness. But it's, how sad is it for you to look in the mirror and not think that you are beautiful or worthy of your skin, your whole body, like your whole face?
Well, the media is pushing it too, though, because did you see the Lupita did a cover for a magazine and they brightened her all the way up, and they did it to Serena. Serena did it, and they brightened her all the way up.
Yeah.
So the media is pushing that no, this dark skin is not working for us type of thing too.
Is it only the
opposite?
Black?
Is it only the media? Because I mean, even the concept of gender on the basis of masculinity and femininity, when they relate it to color, they use the idea of people of a darker feature are more masculine and people of a lighter are more feminine.
Right.
And that one it transcends ethnicity, nationality, and race. As far as Asia, Africa, the Middle East, all these parts of people agree on these stuffs. And now when you have a huge media, American media, who are going around validating these people's own biases, I think it makes it even stronger around the world.
But this goes to my point when I was talking about K Michelle earlier. Like, it has nothing to do with the men she was dating. This woman dated pretty much every person she wanted to date before she bleached her skin. She dated Idris Elba. She dated who else? A bunch of rappers, a bunch of, I think some people on the show or whatever. Like, so then there's something else going on here that doesn't have to do with men.
Could I ask a question, guys? Oh, sorry.
No business.
Go ahead.
I was wondering if the men say, this is my preference. I have a preference, and my preference is a certain hair texture and a certain skin color. Wouldn't the women who hear that want to kind of get that look, that hair, that skin color look, get the wig or the hair texture, that style? Like, wouldn't the women accommodate the men in a certain way? Am I off?
But it's not all men.
It's not just all women.
It's fresh and fit.
Yeah, right.
Right? Do you want to be with fresh and fit, Shayla?
But nobody's calling those men out. There are men that are calling them out, but there is a lot of cowardice where people don't call those men out.
My problem with that issue is this. If women are allowed to say what their preference is, and it doesn't affect men in that same way, why is it that when it comes to men saying their preference, it has that much effect on women?
I'll tell you why. If I say to the men, I want a man with a six-pack, chiseled and sculpted, how many of you would hit the gym?
Shit, I'll tell you to find you somebody. Hell, I ain't finna be. I'm not finna sit up here and play with you. Hell, you want to chisel man? You go get you one. Hell, I am who I am. Hell,
and even the men that will align with what you are saying and will do it, they will do things that they can change. They won't go. Yeah, I don't think a man who is balding who, because a woman said that he wants a man with hair, would go and have a hair surgery.
But I had a cousin
someone who
who
is
had
short.
hair surgery.
How many men are going to do that?
Let me say this, and again, I've said this before about the fresh and fit debacle. It's not about preference. If he doesn't want to date a black woman, that's fine. The issue comes when you degrade and you generalize a group of women on a public platform to make us look like a fool.
That was the point. The correlation of bad behavior to black women. Yeah, that was where they effed up at.
Preference.
Yeah, the preference is not, but just the fact that negative behavior you associate with a black woman, that's where you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's where they messed up.
But I mean, you can see fresh and fit are out there on their own. They own their own island anyway. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is not all black men. This is not representative of all black men. Please let me say that once and for all.
But they
fresh and fit does not represent all black men. And most people that are out here with a vocal minority saying that they have a preference for non-dark-skinned women are.
I don't think any man's preference. I don't think any man's preference affects women. It's men on top. It's the men that have status and power, or the men that have that perceived status and power that whose preference affects women.
Truth. I'm so sorry to push back.
For every woman who says that the reason why they are bleaching their skin is because of, a man said she wanted a light skin. I would say there will be 10 more men that would accept her for her skin. But you may not want that man. So on that basis, because that man has a perceived status and he wants to be aligned with that status, he's going to change for that man because he wants to acquiesce to the reality of that man.
That's true.
So it's a man's problem.
So I feel like this preference, it's a lie. It's just a guise to conceal a lot of BS that's going on. The men are telling us, blah, blah, blah. We're not. We don't have an effect on this, on dark-skinned women, on their hair, but I feel like it's an iceberg. They really do. I feel like there's a huge market. Okay, if the men are desiring this, they like this 3C hair type. They like this skin color. You see all these athletes and actors, they get a little money and they have a certain type.
Look at the people that you are mentioning their name. They are all people with status. But I'm saying that every man.
Yes, but a lot of teenagers and young people look at these athletes and actors and celebrities. We have a celebrity culture, guys. I'm sorry to say it, but we do.
We need to teach our women how to.
So do you think that when women that have status and power, when they say they want a certain man, men must acquiesce to that reality of what those women want?
And I think there's a disconnect because I noticed that Black women who do become successful or have status, they are very loyal. I don't see them hanging around with a Hispanic man or a white man.
Let's say, for instance, the Black woman that has money and status wanted a man who is as tall as 6'4". Should every man who is not 6'4" should be looking for ways to get to that height because a woman says so?
I think that's a bit of a stretch. I'm sorry, they don't know a way to manipulate height. There's a way to manipulate hair. There's a way to manipulate skin color. There's a way to manipulate body shapes. Oh, you like the curvy? I'll get a BBL. Oh, you like this hair type? I'll get a wig.
there is a new type of surgery to for height, but if you haven't heard about it, but it comes with its own conditions.
But Sayla,
Yeah.
you're
So I
bringing up the
think.
entertainment
Mhm.
portion. There's just as many black women in entertainment that date out that are actually in interracial relationships. Like, we gotta stop. You said they're normally more loyal in some cases, but not really, not all the time.
Well, I've been hearing, Fawcett. I've been hearing this. This is a big sticking point for the women.
We just got to teach our
hearing
black
it.
women how to love
They're
themselves. We just got to teach them how to love themselves. It's simple because
There you go. Exactly. Go ahead.
How about we?
How can we do that if we don't love them for who they are? If we don't
Okay,
love
hold
them
on.
for who they are, then that's going to be a problem for us to teach them how to love themselves. If we argue and
Well,
complain
listen.
about everything about them.
Okay, hold on. Let me push back on that because I had someone say that to me before. Why can't you just love? This is way back in the day. Why can't you just love me for who I am? I love you for who you are. I said you made a mistake. I don't want you to love me for me. I want you to push me to be the better man that I can be. Don't love me for me right now because me is messed up. Me fucked up. I need to be
No
better. I
pity
need to
love.
be a better man. I need to have better resources, better finances. So don't love me for me. Push me to be best me. So when you get to talking love me for me, no, baby, I'm not in it for that. I'm in here to elevate you. I'm not here to just keep you in the same place. You see what I mean? So we just gotta go back. We love these black women, but we gotta go back to saying, hey man, I love you. Dark skin, light skin, whatever preference is, we have so many different shades of women.
So how about this
It's
then?
kind of like boring, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, most men will talk about their preference.
So is it a coincidence that most men's preference are not dark-skinned women, but foreign-looking, other non-colored women? We're
How
getting
do you
really
know
dirty
most? How
now.
do you know?
But
Where are
Wait,
we
how do
getting
you,
that from?
wait?
That's like
How do you know most men's preference if your concept of men's preference is the men that are on top, the things that you see in the media?
let me answer that for you, Truth.
Okay.
Are all of these dark-skinned women who are saying they're being disregarded, do I just ignore their concerns or dismiss them?
How many dark-skinned women are married?
So, how many dark-skinned women are married?
Yeah. Like if the case
I
being
don't know, but I will say
not
this.
only in the US but around the world, if the case being made or is only on the basis of skin color, the skin color is a
Let me say this, and this is to go with Sayla because I definitely understand what she's saying. In this space, men have been saying their grievance because they're not being heard. But women, especially dark-skinned women that are told me, you're their preference. They don't want us. The dark-skinned women are the ones that are divesting to these white men, to other men besides black men, because they don't feel wanted. There's a lot of women that says they don't feel like they're going to get married because they're dark-skinned and they feel like black men want lighter-skinned women. This is nothing new. And so if dark-skinned women have been saying this for decades on decades on decades, and we have been leaving dark-skinned women out in organizations, in schools, and they don't feel wanted, then how can we say, well, yeah, they are a preference. Yeah, black men, they prefer. How can you say this or not? We've been telling black women this for years. We've been uplifting light-skinned women for years.
But couldn't that be a bit of confirmation bias as well? Like the fact that you're not in the position married and that you want to be in, and then you attribute it to being dark skinned.
I think it's an escape route.
What about the women that are light skinned that are not married?
Let's take the light skin. Well, let's take the marriage off the table. Let's listen to our dark skinned sisters that are saying this.
I was about to. Okay,
go ahead, Catherine.
No, I just wanted to piggyback on what Fawcett Media is saying, because that's exactly my point. Let me just turn on my camera because I'm a dark-skinned woman, very dark at that. And so I can talk from experience.
And beautiful.
All right. So what can we do? Because I believe we can talk about it. We should have the conversations. But as dark-skinned women, should we be like crying about it, or what can we really do? I think we need to pay attention to our men. What are they saying? Most of the times, at least what I notice in these spaces, is that Black men are saying the reason why they don't like, not all Black men, of course, but the ones that are saying it, that they don't like darker women is because darker women are masculine. So if that's what they're saying, and you know you are not a masculine woman, then you
You are not
shouldn't really,
masculine
you
at
should
all.
take it as a feedback.
Right. And
You are
and
not
and this is
masculine at
and,
all.
and you're
You're
cute.
feminine.
Yeah,
This
Catherine,
and
they
you're
said you
pretty.
fine, fine.
You're
You're
pretty, and this goes
beautiful.
back to my point. Like men like pretty women. If most of the guys on here probably agree with me, and dudes in the chat, if you was to line up Angela Bassett, if you was to line up I'm trying to think of another Kelly Rowland, like dudes will sleep with. These are beautiful women, and they're darker brown skin. So I
And
think the
marry
initial
and
point,
marry them.
men like pretty women. A
But
lot
we
of
don't
these women
believe the
that
men.
And feminine
what are
women.
you talking
Sorry.
about? I just said most
I'm not
of the men
convinced.
here will sleep with those women.
Basila, men cannot do
They
anything
might
about
sleep
that,
with
if
the
whether you
women,
believe in them or not.
but
Yeah,
they
but
might
you
sleep
sleep
with the
with
women.
you, but you sleep
They
with
might
and
sleep with the women,
Hold on,
but
what
the
is
women are saying, yes, they like us, they like our bodies, but when we're placed next to a woman who is not as dark as us, then their preference shifts to the right immediately.
men's
So there's a
preference
That's not
is
disconnect.
proven. That's
men's
not a fact.
preference is a pretty woman who's cooperative. It
Okay,
don't matter if
well,
she dark,
And
light.
for marriage,
all
for
right, well,
marriage
hold
as
on.
well.
Hold on. And this is
And
no,
we
this
need
is
to understand we're not going to be everyone cup of tea, right? Like that's part of
Yeah.
life. Like not everyone's
Pretty,
supposed to
pretty
like
is
us,
subjective though.
but you could be someone cup of coffee, you know, like I mean, go where you're liked and just remain in your feminine energy. Do not be affected. Do
Right.
not perpetuate that stereotype about you being masculine. Black women are nurturing by nature. I don't care about the shade. Black women are nurturing, but we need to be able to, you know, like display that, you know, and do not worry about what people are saying in the media. Focus on your real life, your environment, your community, you know. If you see a Black man, smile, you know, just be a woman, just be feminine, just be I think, as I was saying before, of course it has to do with the fact that my father, he instilled that in me, right? The fact that I should be proud of my looks and all this. So it's important that self-love is always there, like it all starts from within. Because no matter what anyone says, if you don't feel you're beautiful, if you don't feel confident in your own skin, that energy is going to be perceived by others. So I believe it's very important, instead of focusing of what they're saying in the media, or if a man prefer someone that you like, you know, they went for someone who was lighter or white. I think someone said in the panel before that literally she was told that I got a version of you, but you know, she's white and I'm going to marry her or something like that. Of course that's hurtful, but instead of you know, getting bitter by that experience, you want to use it as a fuel to understand that he was the one who had the problem. Like if you don't have a problem with yourself and the way that you look, it doesn't matter what anyone says. You know, you're just going to
Catherine,
go ahead, Sayla.
it would be impossible for me to disagree with anything you said. I completely agree with you. But I feel like it's tiny little cuts over years, over decades, over, you know, some people don't have the family support that you have. Some people, I was saying earlier to Courtney, Beyonce's little baby girl was already getting comments about her hair and her clothes. She doesn't look like her cousin Daniel Jules. I feel like and I'm being the devil's advocate. I hope I'm not offending any of you guys if I propose a different perspective. But I feel like a lot of the dark-skinned girls, not all, this is just, you know, one or two, they don't fall into the category of the pretty girl. So they fall into the category of the tough girl. That's how my friend said it to me. She was, you know, not a so-called feminine with apostrophe on it. So it's like she has to take up another role. Well, if I can't be the feminine pretty girl, this so-called light-skinned pretty girl, well, I'm gonna be pushed into this box.
So you're going to perpetuate the stereotypes.
To answer what Sayla said, that's a very valid point. And I couldn't disagree with it either, except that I believe that attitude is something that we can control. Like we can definitely adjust our attitude. And to me, it wouldn't make sense if I don't consider myself a good looking person to on top of that have a bad attitude. Like it doesn't make sense. I believe that kindness is something that we should embrace regardless of what we look like. And these are spaces, this is the internet. This conversation is probably going to be watched by a lot of different people. So it's good to hear someone who is dark skinned, a woman at that, and the topic is about a dark skinned woman, talking about how you can embrace and navigate life as a dark skinned woman, doing the best with what you have, because as a woman, everyone has something attractive as a woman, or you can work on it. If it's not your face, then work on your body. Always, keep an attitude regardless of what you look like, that it's a pleasant attitude, and that will take you a long way. Talk to the men around your area and they will tell you this. Like, don't pay mind to me, I'm a woman. Talk to the men and they will tell you how far a pleasant attitude can take you as a woman. So, and that's something that you can choose to adjust. So, as I said, I understand everything that you're saying, but by going into the other side or the victim side, I don't really see any positive outcome, so that's all I'm doing. I'm trying, if I'm at this platform, I want to make sure that my voice is heard with a positive message, because everybody knows what are the problems and the different challenges, but what can we do? Like, what can we start doing to change that conception? If I would be on this platform, maybe talking about how hard it is and how that wouldn't be anything new, right? But we're trying to see a different aspect. So that's what I think about that.
And Sayla
God
actually
bless
isn't.
you.
Sayla isn't
Amen.
actually
God
dark
bless you.
skinned though, right?
I'm
Sayla,
sorry, I didn't catch.
Sayla, you said you were fair skin or light skin.
Well, I'm not as dark as my father, who's nilotic, and I'm not. My mother's
Then,
super fair, so I'm somewhere in between.
brown skin.
So we actually have a young lady here that is dark skinned that says, it's not an issue. So
I agree with Catherine. 100% do I agree with you. It's the men. The men. I'm getting at the men, and not you, gentlemen.
But you
I
can't get
sense
at the man.
something from the
You can't
men.
get at the men. You
You
can't get
can
at the
call
men
them out.
on the basis of them not liking a woman because of his skin color.
No, you just have to call out the little details. When I cut off all my hair years ago, and I was in college, there weren't a lot of, black guys in college. It was a predominantly white college. But they made comments and said, "Oh, you cut off your hair. Why? Why'd you cut off your hair?" And I told them, "Well, how come the white boys are not saying this? How come it's not a big deal for the white boys? Why is this hair a big deal for you?" So it's calling out little things, just bringing it out to the surface, just to have a discussion about it.
What if they just like long hair?
I grew up in
So
the
what's
DMV.
wrong
We
with
love short haircuts. We
So
love
they
short
can't
hair.
first they can't complain if you cut your hair, but then if they say
Oh.
they don't like a certain aspect of it, then he said, why shouldn't they
We have
also
a
like
tough
it?
crowd. We have a tough crowd.
No, I'm just saying. What if they could have liked long hair? Maybe you look better. It could be. It's not just because.
But then why wasn't it for the white boys? Why didn't the white boys say, "We like your long hair, we like your curly
Talk to every
hair"?
white boy either.
They might have not have been checking for you
I
either.
do. Actually, the majority of my friends were white
You
guys.
took a poll of all the white men
Say
at your
like, then
school.
why don't
Like,
you
come
make
on, man.
They all said that they liked it. They're like, "Oh, this
Every
is
white man
cute."
in the school said they liked your short hair.
I
I
didn't
think men in general like hair, though. I think.
Courtney, you're muted. You're muted.
I mean, it just
Okay,
it's not
I'm
logical
sorry.
at this point.
Let me say this in defense of Salem, because again, I get what she's saying. We cannot say that dark-skinned Black women are not saying this. I understand what Catherine is saying, but it could also be, Derek, what you're saying is because she's pretty. And so
And all of us up, all the men up here.
sometimes you do have a privilege where others, because your face will, again, like I said with me, I get, all the time in the space, you'll hear, "Oh, you've hit the wall. You're too old." But then depending on how you look, that wall sometimes become invisible to some people. So it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just some people are able to transcend it because of how they look, or even because they might be lighter. So again, I don't want to say, just because Catherine might feel this, I know there's other dark-skinned Black women that might not feel the exact same way as Catherine, or So I want to put that out there. So I get it, and I get what the men are saying, but we can't act like usually a lighter skin average woman usually gets put up more than a more beautiful dark skinned woman.
I've seen
Colorism.
plenty of ugly light skinned girls too, but that's what I'm
No,
saying. We got to be honest.
Fact.
We got to be honest.
Yeah.
If you a lot of those women that you show, and I'm not trying to be funny, they weren't that attractive. Has nothing to do with you being dark skinned. Like I said, I named all dark skinned women. I'm sure most of the men will sleep with because they're pretty. They just happen to be dark skinned. It's not because I'm not dealing with you because you're dark skinned. Are you pretty? Are you a good person? Do you have a good attitude? Do you have a good mentality?
Well, let me ask you this. So
I
why
think
is it when we
the better
talk?
case to make is for the features of the women instead. I think it's not the skin color, maybe the features. If it,
Maybe, but let's not play. So let's not act like Wayne or our hip hop music, or even in this space now when men are like, I prefer a red bone. Like, we don't hear that constantly. That has nothing to do with is she pretty or not. Men tell you, I prefer a yellow bone. I prefer a red bone. I hear that.
how can those small percentage of men represent most men?
I know you said two rappers.
But then let me ask you guys this: how can you?
he's a
Sorry,
rapper,
Courtney,
yeah.
go ahead, hon.
Well, I'm not saying, there's rappers, but what I'm saying is that what you hear perpetuated, even in the media, even on YouTube, it's not, I just want a pretty girl. It's, we put color on them.
It is that simple though, guy. That's what I'm trying to tell you, women. Men like pretty girls. If you're dark skinned, if you're light skinned, so that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter.
But
if you're pretty, if we went out to the club, the men here, and as soon as we walked in, a pretty dark-skinned woman walked up to us and be like, I want to go home with you. We leaving with her.
Absolutely.
We're not going to turn, oh, she's dark-skinned, I don't want to deal with her. That's cap. Men like pretty women, period.
Yes.
I think
end of story, ladies, period.
Can I ask Catherine and Courtney
Pretty
a
is also
question?
subjective.
Okay.
Pretty is also
Sheila, can I ask you a
You have to
question?
know that. It's very subjective.
Sure.
It's very subjective.
Like, do you reject men based on their features?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Have you rejected any man based on the features that man held?
No.
So you accept any man that comes in contact with you?
I don't judge based on features.
So what do you judge on?
Well, I judge based on lots of things, but features is not one of them.
So what do you judge on? Is height a preference for you?
Height
Yeah.
is, how do I choose my words? It's welcomed, but it's not necessary.
I think women's problem when we're having this conversation, if I was a man and I was not preferred by you, maybe on the basis of height or maybe on the basis of my feature, and I went out and created a whole group on this, that men who are, let's say, of a certain height are not being chosen by women or are not the first preference of women, do you think that would put you in a certain position?
I'm so sorry. I don't think height and skin color are the same. Let me say it like this.
The two of them
If the
can
men
be changed.
say, if Catherine and Courtney might understand this, the men have been saying we don't like women with attitude, who are combative, who are antisocial. Not all women have attitude or combative or antisocial or wear wigs or weaves or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But we hear the message. The same isn't being received. Women say, by the way, notice this from the men.
Well, who is judging that? Who is judging that? Are there other men that are judging that if they are combative or not? Or is this
the men
just
have
them
been
personally making a judgment that they are not combative? So I'm saying, like, it's based on this argument is based on false logic.
No, what I'm trying to say is the men have been saying we're frustrated with certain things. And women have been paying attention. They've been listening. But whenever the
So
women say we are frustrated with certain things, light skin and red bone and this and that, there's a bit of a denial resistance from the men.
I mean, when the men make the argument, they don't separate the women, right? But when you make the argument, you separate the women.
Well, the thing is, and I don't know how else to say it, guys, I'm not convinced and I'm not persuaded. The men are saying, yes, we're honorable. We like
Every
our
man on this
black-skinned
panel
women.
has said has
I'm not, but I'm not.
basically affirmed this, and you're just
You,
flying in the face of that, though.
I mean, Sailor, sometimes maybe it's not only because of the
I
skin color.
see men as honorable men.
So you just don't want to believe that black men love black women.
No, not at all. I'm saying you men, and let me be very clear, are honorable gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
But you must understand that there are some men who are not honorable gentlemen.
Sure.
The same for honorable women. There are women that aren't honorable either. I mean, it's the same thing.
I would not even agree with that. I mean, I think sometimes women are trying to have this socialist form of desirability. If
Not
someone
at all.
can make,
I'm a capitalist woman, and I find that offensive.
but when it comes to desirability, I think women are trying to have some form of socialism. If someone sees all women are beautiful, let's say the person specifies that, let's say all black women are beautiful. Most women do not have a problem with it. But when it's negative, then you have a problem with it. If you accept the generalization when it is positive, then why don't you accept it when it is negative?
Okay, so how about I say it this way, and this is the last time I'll say it. I let the bald brother talk after this. There is a stereotype. There is a stereotype, fellas, that black men prefer women, how should I say, that look exotic over dark-skinned women. Can you at least accept that there is a stereotype?
I would accept that, but the numbers doesn't show that.
Stereotype of the men.
Stereotype of the men, the black men.
I would say the men that the actual numbers.
The numbers don't show
would
that.
disprove that fact. They would disprove that fact. The women that are getting married to these black men are not in the exotic category by and large.
Oh, Catherine, help me out. I can't even get a stereotype out there.
We agree with the stereotype that the media has created.
She's trying to make the argument that stereotype of black men only like an exotic women.
There is a stereotype, and I'm gonna water it down to stereotype, guys. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not saying any of you men, but there is a stereotype that African American men, if they had a choice, a preference, that's the word they use, a preference. Their
A
preference.
stereotype, I agree with her. Like, I believe there is a stereotype. A stereotype is a perception of a reality, right? So yeah, I believe there is a stereotype about
But that stereotype, I think you're choosing the wrong word. You're saying
It may have some sense of
stereotype
truth
of
too.
men.
Yes. Yes.
It may have some sense of truth to it.
You're saying there's a
men.
perception that men.
So there's a
Black men
stereotype of
specifically.
women. Exactly. There's a stereotype of black women being aggressive, angry, combative, antisocial behavior. Okay. There is a lot of stereotypes as well for men. And so the men have to acknowledge there is a stereotype that is believed amongst a group of people, of us.
But is that specifically because Courtney, you're around the manosphere a lot.
Yeah.
Is there a specific channel that only bashes dark-skinned women as opposed to exotic
All women.
As opposed to all women, exactly.
So no, I mean, I've never
Right.
seen a platform that says you dark skinned heifers. No. However, I would be remiss if I did not say that. Yes, when I listen to platforms and they say, "Yeah, I like a red bone. I like light skinned women," and people are in the chat, "Yeah, light skin." Even when I pulled up Game Changers live that he did a week ago, and he was talking about dark skinned women, the whole chat, and I'll bring it up. The chat was black dark skinned women are evil. I can't stand dark skinned women. This is the reason why no one wants a dark skinned woman. The chat was going ham. So it exists in here in the black manosphere as far as with colorism and
On the fringe. On the fringe.
Yes.
But do you think is a problem if a man said that dark women are beautiful?
If what women aren't beautiful?
if a man stated that dark skinned women are beautiful, is it a problem also? Because if people are able to
No,
generalize
right.
in the negative, in the positive, they should be able to do it in the negative. Wouldn't that be fair?
You're absolutely right. And there are men, and black is beautiful, dark skin, melanin. You hear that too. But
Yeah.
we don't look at it necessarily as a bad thing because you never do. The people that are more oppressed, it just like Black Power. I can say, Black Power, all Black lives matter. That won't get us pushback. But now if I say white power, it's like, now wait a minute, you've had power enough. So
I
when you're
mean,
in the minority, and especially with dark skinned women are in the minority of being desirable, and
so
when
they have
someone
accepted that
desires them,
accepted that
you encourage it.
position. So, Courtney, do you think dark skinned women have accepted that position that they are on the bottom of being desirable?
Do I think they accept that? I think a lot of dark skinned women do believe that men prefer lighter skinned women. I do believe that.
So do you think, have you ever imagined how difficult it will be dealing with a woman? If you are dealing with a woman that have that sense of insecurity, do you know how difficult it's going to be?
And most of those
dealing
men
with such a
haven't
woman?
experienced dark-skinned women at all.
But I'm saying that if a woman is having that perception, how difficult is it going to be? Just like Sailor is here. Even if we say dark-skinned women are beautiful, she still wants that positive affirmation. So that means the man has to spend the rest of his life not only trying to deal with his own adversity, but he has to deal with the adversity of the women also. And if most men are looking for peace, don't you think that most men are going to choose the path of least resistance?
Bingo.
I think that's true. And especially when we're talking about men that are more mature, then a lot of this nuance or that dissipates. But again, we cannot say that it doesn't happen. If it doesn't happen, then there will be no thing as colorism within our community.
But I'm saying that even
me just talking about this, or dark-skinned women just talking about this, and I was having shows about dark-skinned women, and then another one about light-skinned women and the woes, then all of that would be a figment of our imagination if this stuff didn't exist. It does, and it's okay to call it out. It might not be for you. You might love the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Yeah, send them to me and Derek.
Right, but to say that it doesn't happen,
nobody is denying that it doesn't. Nobody is denying that it doesn't happen. But my problem is that if you cannot make the case on the basis of them forcing people to desire them. I think just as we said, there are negative stereotypes about them, just as there are negative stereotypes about men. And it is up to the individual to change that perception when he comes into contact with that person that has that perception about him or her. So if that person cannot make that case for that person, I think that person must be allowed to choose whoever he or she wants.
Yeah, no one is saying that though. And like
But I think sometimes when the dark-skinned women make the argument, I think that's why I said they are trying to have this socialist form of desirability. And I'm saying that if there is a room for people to have a negative stereotype, a positive stereotype about you, if someone can say that all dark-skinned women are beautiful, then there must be someone who can also say all dark-skinned women are not beautiful to them. Because if we want the positive affirmation, we must also allow for some people to have the negative affirmation. Because not everybody is for everybody.
You're absolutely right. Everybody is not for everyone, and no one is here trying to force you to have a preference. So, and this isn't even a conversation about Fresh and Fit and what they said about what they think about blacks, I think it is more towards dark-skinned women. They said black women, but then it was Myron that said, I'll take a red bone. Again, the perpetuating he'll take someone light skin over someone dark skin. And why? Because dark skinned women do have a negative connotation when it comes to being angry, having attitudes. Those people in the chat said dark skinned women are evil. And that's not the first time I've heard that.
That's
so
more
it's not about
though.
changing your preference. It's about understanding that colorism still exists, is in our community, is in our platforms that we frequent all the time. And I have to call it out because I call out the bullshit.
And so does Myron
Can I say something to this?
As a man from Sudan, does he represent all black men?
No.
Let me say something to this. I know I've said it before, I'll say it again. There are too many type of narrative about black men. But we forget that we have two sections of black men. We have black men who are ignorant, who like to put colorism into the mix. Then we have a group of black men who are educated and not worry about how dark you get, how light they can. They love you for who you are, the individual. I remember I brought it up on one of the podcasts when even in my own country, as a Nigerian, there's a colorism issue at play because they're from a European mindset, whereby you have dark skin women want to bleach themselves because they feel like if they're lighter, they'll be more accepted. That's the thing that's going in Africa. Out here, remember the 80s and the 90s, the RB show, the light skin artist, the light skin, and that was the colorism that was going on in America as well. The problem is the people that promote that message out there in the media is trying to reprogram people's mindset about what is accepted, what is not accepted. I was called shadow in high school back in my country because I'm dark skin, as you can see. Now, if I turn off all the light, only can see my eye, my teeth, my wife, the clown. I say, okay, it's good. Because I take black of the berry, sweet of the juice.
There you go.
I don't worry about what people say. I tell you may not like me now, but I bet you tomorrow won't want me. Then all of a sudden, no, it's too late. Here's the problem. The black community absorbs too much negative programming from the media.
That's a
If
fact.
it's not from the TV, it's from social media. I used to work for a social media company back in the day. The first one was CollarCup.com. And I remember that back in the late 90s, early 2000s, that was the social media platform that I had to work with at with the BMCC. My boss was working in I keep it Hunter College, sorry, correct, Hunter College. So they were doing that thing at that time, promoting different social media. It was like a tool back then. Now, it's the mechanism for putting negative information. When you absorb it from the TV, from social media, through your phone, it will program your thinking. That's what the problem. I'm a nerd, so I can see the big picture. I love my black woman. All shade, doesn't matter. You're dark skin or you're light skin. My wife is a Trinidadian.
The program
She
is
loves
real.
dark skin men, and I'm glad she does. Problem is, too many people take what they put out in the media, think that is the narrative for the whole community. That is not so.
It's not.
That is where the big problem comes to play. If you can detach yourself from the entertainment, which is coming from the TV, which is coming from the social media, which is coming from different, then you understand that's not the case. If black women and black men, dark skinned men are evil, then I must be the evil one out here. But that's not the case. The problem is you need to stop taking that narrative. Fetch and fit don't represent us. Let's put it like that. They represent the group of ignorant people who like to put a negative narrative about people. You chew what you get.
Yeah.
If you go based on personality, then every black, dark skinned woman are not the same. Everyone is different individually. The idea, dark skinned women, then I could say all light women are evil too. But that's not the case either.
Yeah.
'Cause I find it's like an elementary school argument, to be honest with you. That's exactly how I see it.
I agree. Well, let me say this, Black David, and I want to get that bald brother in too before we start wrapping up.
No
But
problem. I'm not going to take too long.
well, this is what I've from the get-go is that we have to stop grouping people together. We have to stop thinking that all women, black women, dark-skinned women, light-skinned women, short men, fat women, it's everyone is individual. Once we start looking at people's characters and stop grouping people, well, y'all black women, y'all always doing this. Well, y'all black men, y'all always doing this, because it's not the truth. We're all different. Again, on this panel, Sayla, Catherine, me, 3 different black women, 3 different ideologies, 3 different looks. We're all different on a panel. All these handsome black men on the panel, but y'all are all different. Once we start looking at each other, at ourselves, and looking at you as you are Derek, you do not represent every single black man. You are Black David, you do not represent every single black man. Once we start doing that, then that fresh and fit bullshit is ceasing. There's no all black women or get them. No, it's not. Maybe the women that you like, but that's not me. That's not Sayla. That's not Catherine. And that's what I think that we have to get in. And on these the content creators have to keep pushing the narrative, but quit doing all.
You know what the
Because
problem is, Courtney? I think when people are so, I can't say stuck, I'm looking for the word to say, they're glued to the TV screen, they're glued to their phone, they're glued to their computer screen. They're absorbing too much media. They're detached from reality. That's what the problem is. Maybe people need to have what I call a diet. Cut off the TV, cut off the media, go into a facial interaction, person-to-person interaction. Maybe that will change because the problem is social media it's kind of like it expands the negative narrative so far to the point whereby everybody believe any of the tea on the web, on the TV, and say this is what it is, but never do their own personal homework. That's
But
what the problem is.
talk about the algorithm too, Black David.
Yeah.
Like it's
I'm an IT guy.
feeding them
I'm
more of what
Hold on.
they either don't want or want.
They
Let me
make
get.
money off negative information.
Oh,
That's what the
absolutely.
problem.
Yeah,
I'm an IT
negativity
guy.
is
You think I
always
don't know that? As long as I put negative information in front of your face and you continue to consume it, I'm going to keep making my money off you.
okay. That ball, brother. How are you? Thank you for being patient. I appreciate you.
No problem, Courtney. Thanks for having me up. I had a quick question going back to what you said earlier. And you and Sailor were talking about this. So are you guys saying that there aren't enough black male voices on the platform that are promoting dark-skinned women versus those that are talking bad about them and promoting light skin?
You know what? I don't know if we're asking for promotion. Maybe the cease of generalizing. I don't know. I'm not asking for any. I guess I am calling it out, but I don't think I'm asking, I want black men to start talking about how you love dark-skinned black women. Talk about it now. I'm not. You talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. You have your preference.
Right.
But then when it gets out of hand, when it comes to, black men degrading black women, dark-skinned women not feeling like they're a preference to black men because of what they might hear.
Well, going back to what Black David was saying, it's, there's ignorant and there's educated.
Yeah.
And you got to remember there's a distinguishment between the two. And people are getting caught up in sweeping generalizations about black men being, all black men are bad. Maybe the ones you dated.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to separate the personal experiences from the statistics.
Mm-hmm.
All dark-skinned women are not hated. I don't know where you're getting that from, but that's not the case. And I get it that some may feel that way.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
No, not you. I'm saying, but that's we got to be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw a few weeks ago a beautiful black dark-skinned girl on a platform, and I saw the live stream chats, and they were making fun of her hair, they were making fun of her body, they were making fun of her dark, her skin shade, and it's not a point of shame. I that's all I'm saying. Certain things are just shameful, but they're not seen as shameful. And so there's that. That's all I see. I'm not trying to say that you have to like dark-skinned women, you have to date them, you have to prefer them. No, I don't want to associate all these hateful, hurtful things to them. Oh, they're violent, they're aggressive, they're this, they're that. I just didn't understand that. That was my point. It's not that you have to like someone, but at least you don't have to hate their skin color. So that was it. There's an in between. And so I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't offend anybody.
No, you didn't. I appreciate the discourse.
It was fun.
That's
It was
the first
fun.
time that you got a little spicy. I was surprised.
I just kept thinking of my friends, and I just thought, what would they feel? So it was good talking to you guys all. Have a wonderful evening. And thank you for having this discussion, Courtney.
Oh, absolutely.
Seriously.
Thank you. And I'm planning on having it again, too, because I do want to do a panel of the Black Queens.
I will call in. I will call in and tease the men if they don't take it too personal. Have a good night, guys. See you. Bye.
Nothing's personal here.
I wanted to say again, guys. When I mean, I'm saying the women, it's simple. Beauty. Listen, men. All right. So Courtney, all right, you my YouTube wife, but let's use this example real quick. All right. Okay. Say you and Catherine, y'all go out to a club, right? Mm-hmm. Y'all both looking good, looking nice. But Catherine got a little bit more pound cake than what you got, right?
My booty?
Yeah.
Little booty. Okay.
Impossible. Both out. Who you think gonna get the who they gonna be flocking to? Men gonna go to whoever looking good for, and that's what I'm saying. It don't matter about the light skin, dark skin. If you fine enough, if you nice enough, men will go. That's why I was trying to tell y'all it doesn't matter. A lot of these women that's divesting and doing whatever ain't the prettiest flower in the garden. I'm just keeping it a buck. So, I mean, we see you, you know, gorgeous, pretty girl. We see Catherine, pretty girl. If that scenario played out and she in the club with you and she got the tight dress on and it's fitted,
showing all the
dudes will approach her.
And is she responsive to you? That's the other thing. You know?
Right. And she was, and I'm glad you brought that up, man. I remember a dark-skinned girl that I was attracted to. This was young back in the day. This is, you know, I was maybe 21 or whatever. And she told me, she was like, yeah, I think you're nice looking or whatever, but you're not light enough for me. She told me that. And if you notice that the dynamic is flipped also on that, and a lot of dark-skinned women, a lot of times like light-skinned men. And she was pretty as can be, you know, but she told me that. And I was like, well, damn, okay. You know, apparently I'm too dark for her, you know, but it depends. But initially, my initial point back to what I was saying, using that example is because men, listen, if you find enough, if you're a light-skinned baddie, it is what it is. If you're a dark-skinned baddie, it is what it is. Men are not going to turn down no woman because she dark or because she light or she light brown skin or whatever. If you nice
talk about the colorism for brown skinned men. We not light skinned, we not dark skinned.
Yeah, I'm brown. I'm in there. I'm
it's colorist.
It's like that in New York City. If you're not light skinned, you're not in.
Yeah, I'm
At
not.
one point, they made it seem like dark skin were back until what the snipe came into the mix.
Right.
All of a sudden, dark skin people came back.
Right.
All of a sudden, it's like what the media pushed out. That is where the problem. People are glued to the TV screen,
and we know who runs the media.
What they see by celebrity, they think that's what it's in.
Yeah.
And I find that crazy. Even by my job in the past 20 years, people would ask me, you know any African sister that you could hook me up with? I'm like, did they say African dating service on my chest? Like, what's going on here? People would ask me that question if I know any Africans I could hook them up because they saw a video of how African women are so very beautiful. But last I checked, I don't work for that kind of stuff. But I would say, I don't know, I can help you. But if you want to go out there, go with someone who know the country. I tell people that every now and then. Don't just fly to Africa blind. Find someone who can show you a place, show you around, with a good place to go to, with a bad place to go to. And from there, you make your spin based on that. Other than that, I'm not the one going to say you out there, man. I'm sorry. I want no blood on my skin.
You need to start quoting Ludacris. You need to start quoting Ludacris. He said all the best women in the world reside in Africa, and that's.
He did say that.
You always say the Lil Wayne verse, but you don't say the Ludacris verse.
Right. On the continent.
Yeah, but look at his wife.
Oh, well, she's from Africa, but
yeah, she's from
and high
she's
yellow.
brown skin. She's actually brown.
Yeah, she like you.
Yeah, what you talking about?
Well. Okay.
It's a black one. Damn, she got to be a dark skin. And that's another thing. Well, she likes it. Damn, she black.
If you take the time and travel to an African different country, you be shocked what you see. Get like 2 months to bounce around different African country, take your time to observe it, then you realize like, oh, this is what it is. The problem
we're every hue, guys. We're every hue, and it's cool. But initially, to get back to the point, I'm gonna keep driving this home.
Guys,
pretty. Yeah, and
we're visual creatures. We have preferences. That's all there is to it. He's right.
And if you pretty and you dark skinned, wow, thanks. If you light skinned and you pretty, wow, thanks. It don't matter. It just so happens, again, the divested movement. These ladies ain't really, they librarians.
They're mad socially awkward too, though. They really socially awkward because they sit on the internet all day. So,
they are.
They kind of projecting. So they go out with their social awkwardness, and now it's because they're dark skinned that they're not getting what the desired result.
Right, and it's like you're weird acting. You're not that cute.
Conservative black woman, if she would have gave me that flack in the gym or wherever she was when she said, "I saw a black man." he just didn't like me.
I'm sorry. I'm a former jump when you did mention her name. I'm like,
Yeah.
that type of
You got
energy.
PTSD. That's why, because
No,
you've
I'm
been
being
on here
honest with you.
last two.
That type of energy in the gym, a lot of guys would stay away from her. I've seen that before. When you have black women act a certain way, all the black men notice that. All they do is just ignore her and walk away.
People
They
can
don't
see
even
that kind of energy
bother.
across the street, David. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And she's talking about she's gonna stand on the corner and black dude's looking at her funny. Woman, you looking at them funny.
Ain't
They
nobody
detect that.
studying her. They probably was looking at her because the makeup looked wild on her.
Don't go there, Derek. Don't do it.
I'm just saying.
Don't do
That's. I mean, listen. Again, man. Everybody don't want to address the elephant in the room with these divestors, man. They not the prettiest, and not nothing against Shorty. She was okay, but I'm just saying it was. I don't know what was going on. Point is, I mean, let's keep it a buck. Hey, everybody can't be beautiful. Everybody can't be strong. Everybody can't be rich. It is what it is.
Crystal Carrison kind of look all right though. Sometimes I look at Crystal Carrison. If she didn't open her mouth with the rhetoric, she's very pretty. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there are some attractive ones over there talking that stuff.
A lot of them ain't though. So it's like I see why
she's pretty on the outside. I'm an anime guy. All of what pushing me back. I'm like, oh hell no. She look like a psychopath to me, to be honest with you. Like she kind of like
CK.
I feel like the women on this side, a lot of advocates for men, a lot of you women over here are nice looking. Like I can't say that. The sisters that's over here, y'all nice looking, but when
that's very helpful, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, that does help. You know what I'm saying? But when you go over there, it looks wild, and it's like, man, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'll pull it back up. Some of the women.
Wow. All right, and I ain't gonna let all the cats
don't do it.
Once
Come
they
on.
see, I'm not gonna say nothing. Y'all judge how these women look, how wild they look. I'm gonna go on mute.
All right.
And I'm gonna wrap it up, you guys. But I'm gonna put up some of the women that are divesting.
Keep in mind, y'all, right now, look at Courtney, look at Catherine. Now, when she pick this stuff up, look at how they look. I'm gonna go on mute.
Okay, invest or divest? All right, we got Sideshow Bob over here.
I'm not gonna make, but like I said, they do have.
Nah, I'm joking.
What I was saying is that they're darker skinned women.
I remember this panel too, but
yeah, I talked
I
about
mean,
them.
would make up
Hey,
better situation.
hold on. Hey, fellas, come on, y'all. Look how wild this looks.
That's bad lighting, Derek. That's bad lighting.
Bro,
hey,
this one on the right with the makeup, man.
Look how wild this look, man.
But this is a mental illness, Derek.
Go back to the other one.
This is a mental illness, Derek. This is a mental illness.
This ain't got nothing to do with being dark skinned. Look at. Come on, you know what? I'm gonna go back on mute.
But they thought they were in a safe zone, but they were in public and they forgot. So I mean, like here's the thing: like the going Sideshow Bob here, if she had a different hairstyle, like she'd probably be halfway decent, attractive. Yeah, she'd be cute.
Yeah.
But
I'm not saying nothing about they look. I'm just saying like they.
I hear you. Well, let me.
I'm a Joan though. You know what I'm saying?
Look at y'all. Look at y'all. Look at them.
We gonna compare that.
I mean, it takes a little bit to be online anyway. Like you kind of got to put yourself together.
The people are looking at you. You might want to brush your head.
For the lady who had way too much makeup, I was afraid that if water touch her face,
it's gonna melt.
Would kill a lot of guys.
Or she looks like something else underneath the makeup.
Oh, dear.
That's a possibility.
Don't see you going somewhere throwing salt, but don't do it. Come on now.
Because in my country,
this is why I just left it vague. This is why I just said it looked wild. That's it. I just left it vague. And y'all could. That's why I was like, you put the pictures up.
In my country, be careful of the woman that wear way too much makeup.
Exactly.
She's hiding something.
Yes.
You see on YouTube, they show some women who look real busted until they put all that makeup and look completely different what they really are.
She's like,
so now that being put out more and more often, a lot of guys not that question. If I see too much makeup, something's different about it. I'm not gonna approach it.
Yeah, I saw that video.
So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to wrap it up, but like I said, we're going to answer my question that I had in my title. We'll go one by one. So, Black David, do you think that dark-skinned women are being overlooked?
Do I think dark skinned women are what? Again, say it again.
Are they being overlooked?
Yes and no. We gotta say
Mm-hmm.
yes and no. For what I see in corporate America, dark skinned women not being overlooked. They're being hunted down like wild animal because there's some brothers out there who are educated that love their dark skin women, that love the beauty of it. Now, those who are not within the corporate community, they're more like from the street and everything, they cannot be overlooked because they still have that mindset that light skin is in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unless you're well traveled, dark women are not really being overlooked at all. I mean, so European women going to European men going to Africa more often trying to marry off these dark skinned women by the numbers. If you don't want them, they will take them.
There you go.
Real talk.
Thank you, Black David. I appreciate you. Derek, answer that question. Do you think dark-skinned women are being overlooked? You're on mute. There
All
you
right,
go.
I'm back. Sorry. No, I kind of agree with what Black David was saying. I think yes and no. I think there's a preference. No to the obviously pretty one. You know, kind of jokingly, that's been the theme I've been saying. But no, I think if you're beautiful, if you're pleasant, you know, men are attracted to that. If you're the opposite of that, if you're not that attractive, if you're not that easygoing, men won't be attracted to you. It has nothing to do with color. You know, there's plenty of beautiful dark skinned women who are in relationships, who are attractive,
Mm-hmm.
who are in the media. You know, so I think it's 50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, color, but I do agree colorism is a problem in our community. We need to work on that. But as far as you know, the black women getting played, you know, dark skin, I think it's 50-50, half and half.
Yeah. All right. I'm
So,
gonna go to the next. Thank you, Derek. It's
all
always a
right.
pleasure.
Yeah, all right. Have a good night, y'all. Appreciate
Good. Let's see who we got next. Well, they got me on the big screen. I think everybody's. I don't know what happened, but let me finish it up.
I'm
If I
still
didn't,
here.
you still there? Okay, let me pop you up.
Me too.
Hey.
Yeah, still here.
I don't know why I just did that.
There you go. Just
There
click
we
back.
go.
Yeah.
All right, Fawcett, we're gonna go to you.
All right. Thank you for having me, Courtney. Yeah. Black women are not overlooked. Dark-skinned women are not overlooked. And like I said, with my media background, I'm going to do what women do to us men. You know, when we have an example, we always bring up rappers or actors, right?
Right.
Angela Bassett, Violet Davis, Kerry Washington, Taraji P. Henson, Regina King, Gabrielle Union, Issa Rae, what's her name? The girl that played Molly on it. Like all Alfre Woodard, Octavia Spencer, keep going down the list. Whoopi Goldberg. There are plenty of examples of Black women in the media being shown in a positive light. And are they being overlooked in life? I would ask you to get out of your bubble, because if you look around you, Black men by and large are marrying dark-skinned women, light-skinned women, and brown-skinned women, because Black men are married by and large to Black women. So no.
So no.
Dark-skinned women are not being overlooked.
All right. Thank you, Fawcett. I appreciate
And come to
it.
my channel if you if you're dark-skinned and you feel like Black men aren't
There you
giving
go.
women
He's
love.
taking them all.
Come to my channel. You can go to Derek's channel. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm about to get monetized. So let's go.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. No problem. All right, Catherine, what do you think?
I think that in general, we are being overlooked, but overlooked doesn't necessarily means rejected. Overlook
Mhm.
has to do with an image. So, therefore, it's something that we can change. I believe that, as I said before, it all starts with, how you behave in real life, out of these spaces, in these spaces. We're a walking advertisement, especially as women, and we should just change that narrative. I think it's easy to change because, of course, I understand that if a woman is pretty, if she has, if she has something going for her physically, regardless of her skin tone, she's going to be able to attract men. But I believe at the same time, you could be a light skinned woman that are not pretty, and you're still gonna have some maybe social equity because your image is different than the darker black woman. So instead of victimizing yourself as a dark-skinned black woman, or crying about it, just change your image, change the perception they have of you. Whenever you have a chance, to talk or to interact, show them that you're not that negative stereotype that everyone has. A lot of people love black women and dark skinned women. Unfortunately, in the media, it's just not promoted. But in reality, a lot of black men want a good woman, like regardless
Mhm.
of the shade. That's what I believe. And I believe just like when you're nurturing a flower, for the flower to grow and become prettier and stronger, you got to have good conversations with yourself. You got to nurture yourself. You got to love yourself because, as someone was saying, maybe the way they're looking back at you has to do with the way you see yourself. That's what
Yeah.
I believe.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much,
having me,
Catherine.
Courtney.
I
You're welcome.
appreciate you, and hit my email up because I want to put you back on another one I'm having.
Okay, sure. Can you please share it on the chat? I don't think I have your email, or is
I'm
it?
gonna, yeah, let me stay there. I'm gonna put it in the private chat, but give me what you got, one community.
Got you, man. Peace. I just want to say thank you again for this panel. These discussions are very, very needed. I feel like black women are being overlooked. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mm.
from the hood. Certain of my friends, certain things like that. We hear the conversations all the time. Me being a person that, I'm an artist. I'm a music artist. I do acting as well. I've been in Hollywood. I've seen these stereotypes happen in Hollywood. I was there acting. I've been in the music industry. I've seen people not get gigs. I've seen people not get deals. I've seen people not get roles based on the darker complexion of their skin. And I've been picked over people maybe based on maybe my skin complexion. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I think it's something that's happening. I think it's something that's prevalent. You know what I mean? But to the degree that people make it seem within our local community, sometimes maybe not as much. But because black people are getting with dark skinned women, are getting with black women. To some of the things like Derek say, if you're pretty, different things, people might accept it. I think that sometimes pretty is subjective. Sometimes people are attracted to things that you're used to. Your mother was like this, and you're attracted to a woman like that. Your aunt was like this, your friend was like that, your first girlfriend was like this. And sometimes things begin to shape what we deem as attractive and what we deem as pretty. You know what I'm saying? So I think pretty is subjective. You know what I mean? Depending on how you look at stuff. Sometimes you look at people and you wasn't really attracted, and then you find yourself very deeply attracted into a person as you get to know a person more. So,
Yeah.
Regardless of the fact, I think we got to celebrate all shades of our skin, from the darker to the lightest. But most definitely celebrate our dark skinned people. You know what I mean? Growing up in school, we were talking about African booty scratches and all types.
Mhm.
We was wow, you crispy, you black, and all kind of things that wasn't like a joke. You know what I mean? Like that, it was crazy. But we was working around and acting like they were jokes. It's a lot of things that's been perpetuated on us, maybe through European constructs, maybe through people that are not looking like us. They're not our color. But sometimes I just think that we are just so prejudiced against each other. Maybe sometimes, maybe they're more even other nationalities. So let's
Yeah.
celebrate our women. Let's celebrate our people, all shades. We are beautiful. We are indigenous. We have every hue, every phenotype. And let's just love each other, man. So salute to y'all.
Thank you so much, more community. It's always a pleasure.
bless you, Queen.
Mhm. And last but not least, the bald brother.
Thank you, Courtney, for having me up. I appreciate the topic. Great show, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate you for coming up.
No problem. I agree with Derek. I think it's more 50-50, but I feel like it's unfortunate that most of the loudest voices we hear in the divestment community happen to be dark-skinned women. And that only feeds into that narrative that we're talking about. I think that those women are dealing with personal experiences that have affected them. It's not the entire population of black men that are looking at them this way, but to them it feels that way. And I know how that is. I get it. But you can't make these sweeping generalizations saying that all black men are bad or they don't like you, or they don't want me, so I'm going to go over to the white man. I mean, you got to, like you said, broaden your horizons. Get out of your community and date more people before you make that decision, because you're just assuming that 5 bad guys means, okay, no black man wants me. That's just too much for me.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
Well,
Well,
thank you
thank
for
you. I appreciate it. Come back.
I will.
Visit me.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
So I appreciate everyone for coming up. I think this was obviously a topic that has plagued our community with colorism. Especially, I do believe that a lot of our dark-skinned women are not being heard. And again, this platform is to give everyone a voice. So for that, I'm going to do a part 2. I kind of want to do a panel. So Catherine, I'm going to bring you back up, Saya, and maybe some other women of all shades of Black, just to have a conversation about colorism and within not only our community, but how we treat each other as women. So I want to thank everyone that came up on the panel. I appreciate all the super chats, all the comments. Before you leave, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, support your girl. Again, this is all family talk. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. So are dark-skinned women being overlooked? We'll talk about it more. So anyways, have a good night. Thank you guys.